So you're working there, and while you're working there, you're under this crazy schedule. Forgive me for explaining your story, but you would get these phone calls. You would have to go to the airport at 11 p.m., and your wife started thinking that you were having an affair.
Yeah, apparently so. Now, I did give my permission to have, as part of the, security clearance process, I gave written permission to have the phones monitored and things of that sort. So they weren't doing any covert stuff. They, with any Q clearance, which is civilian top secret clearance or military top secret clearance, they go talk to friends and, places you've been, make sure you're not connected to foreign countries. But, monitoring your phone is nothing unusual. However, they insisted that, you don't even talk to your loved one, to your partner, to your wife, whatever, about what's going on. So she was essentially in the dark and didn't know the phone was being monitored. Well, part of the security clearance is that not only do you not have any connections to foreign countries and aren't a maniac, but you have to have a stable home life too. Well, she started having an affair with a flight instructor. Now, they were monitoring this on the phone, and they knew it, and I didn't. So they stopped me coming in, and their attitude at the time was, we need to see how this is going to play out, and if Lazar's going to get a little weird or anything. So let's just, hold him off from coming in and, see what happens.
And they explained this to you, what was happening?
Well, after the fact, yeah, because time kind of went on, and there were guys that were following me around, and I started getting a little concerned, going, well, shit, are they booting me out of the project? And if so, they're not just going to let me hang out at home and go get a new job knowing what I know. So as time went on, I started getting a little concerned, and I took my closest friends and just kind of got together, and I said, hey, remember that job I told you about? This is what's going on. And you don't need to take my word for it. Wednesday night, we need to all go out here. I want to show you what's going on. So I took everybody, and we went out to, remember, since I had the test flight schedule, and went outside the base, out into the desert, and so everybody could see, one of the high-performance tests. And, it left quite an imprint on everybody, so they knew I wasn't.
And there's videos
crazy.
of these tests, right?
Yeah, but remember, this is in the dark in the 80s with a big monster-sized camcorder, and you got, a bright light jumping around. But, we did video of it, but there's no, by today's standards, it's...
But is your video specifically available, the video that you took?
Yeah, well, George Knapp has it.
Is it online?
Do you know? I have no idea.
Jeremy?
Yeah, I show clips of it in my film. It's online, and someone did a deep analysis of it. It was interesting to take a look at how...
Pull this microphone up to your face. Keep it about a fist from your face.
All right. To see how his video looks now, but as far as video evidence, we are talking 80s camcorders. The most important thing is the human story here. Everybody that he took up there on 3 separate occasions, they don't all like each other. They don't all talk. They all agree on one thing. They saw something that night at the exact point in time and space that Bob Lazar said. And remember, this is 17 miles south of Area 51. No one even knew really about Area 51. We're talking Papoose Lake, and they all agree. They saw something that night they had never seen before, and they've never seen since, right when he said it. So that's one of the 6 things where I'm like, how did he know? You can dismiss him. I tried to dismiss it. But some things we can't get around, and there's about 5 or 6 of them. How did he know about those?
If Jamie wants to find that video right now, what would he look under?
Bob Lazar, UFO, S for Area 51, just kind of like that. So it's like the S for UFO video, Bob Lazar, and a guy does an analysis, but you're analyzing these 80s videos.
Right.
He from the very beginning, Bob never said, I have proof of my story and I'm going to tell the world. He said at the very beginning, I cannot prove my story. That's not why I'm telling this. George Knapp convinced him to tell people, and he lived through it, and I didn't believe it either until I talked with George.
Okay, so you filmed this test flight, one test flight, and then you get caught.
Actually, it was, I think, the 3rd time, because we went out there the first time. Everybody saw it. Everybody was amazed because it did some radical maneuvers, and everybody had a lot to say about it.
Maneuvers that I've seen the video. It doesn't. I don't think there's something we have now that does that.
No,
in terms of like a human piloted craft. I mean, I don't know, obviously, with the government.
No, it's impossible. Nothing can move like that. And remember, we didn't start filming from the very beginning. We were waiting for something, to happen. The craft took off and then came flying at us, stopped, turned at a right angle, flew back, and then, after it did some, amazing stuff, we like, to get the camera, and then we started filming. So it doesn't have all of it on there; it just has some.
The way I describe it to my friends, and they said, "What does this look like?" I said, "Take a laser pointer, and then have a wall, and then move it around the wall." Like, how it moves around the wall, it doesn't seem like it has anything to do with inertia or physics, or it's not impeded in any way by the atmosphere. Yeah. That's what it looked like.
You're essentially separated from reality, as crazy as that sounds, with being in case its own gravitational envelope. Inertia is not going to affect it. And, this is how some of those recent sightings with Commander David Fravor, I'm sure you've heard of the Tic Tac UFO. I mean, he describes exactly, the thing operates exactly the way I was describing. That's why he was interested to talk to me. But we saw this, and, on the way home, it's like, hey, we got away with it. We should try it again the next test flight day. So this became a thing to do. And I think it was on the third time that we got caught. I mean, we started becoming a little careless. I think we took a motorhome out there. And, it was like the stupidest thing you could possibly imagine.
Started tailgating.
Yeah, it was ridiculous. And
again, you're in your 20s.
Yeah. And, what was funny was we went out there, and my friend Gene Huff and I were leaning on the front of a vehicle. And just for some reason, we just started talking shit. Like, well, I hope they realize that, I don't remember what we were saying, but, that it's something about attacking the base or something along those lines and stealing the craft or something like that.
Something crazy.
And then about 20 feet in front of us, we see a little green light fall on the ground and roll to us. And unbeknownst to us, now it's pitch black, you can't see your hand in front of your face. There were a bunch of guards standing right out there, and they had a night vision scope where they were like from here to the wall looking at us, listening to us, and the guy dropped it, and the scope rolled over to us, and you could see the green screen. We turned the lights on, and all these guys are there. So it was
whoa.
Yeah. So we did incredibly stupid stuff and got caught, as we should have.
So when they catch you and they bring you in, then what happens?
Well, I went in for debriefing. The following day, I went to Indian Springs Air Force Base, which is kind of a defunct base that they used to use at the nuclear test site. And this is when they brought out the transcript of the phone call with my wife. And, they sat me down and we said, when we meant to keep the secret, we meant you can't tell your friends, right? And it just being sarcastic and trying to. Mm-hmm. And then they got real serious. But this is where they, took the transcript out and were reading me what my wife and, our friend were talking about. And I don't know, it was a hard time.
So what happens from there? What do they do with you? Why don't they arrest you?
I don't know. I don't know why. I'm not sure they knew what to do, but they did let me go that night, and I went home. And this is kind of when the most stressful part started.
Because you're realizing that you're being monitored 24/7.
Now I know not only am I being monitored, but now I know I'm in trouble. And it wasn't a short time after that I contacted, at that time, the only investigative reporter I had heard of in Las Vegas was George Knapp. And, told him some of the story because I had no idea what the hell was going to happen at that point.
So George Knapp tries to dissect your story, tries to find holes in it, tells it, puts it online, and makes everybody aware of it, and that's how I found out about it.
Yeah, to make a long story short. Yeah.
What happens, to really make a long story short, what happens from there on? I mean, do they contact you and say, hey, Bob, it's probably a good idea if you shut up?
Oh,
Did they try to label you as crazy? Was there?
There were a lot of things that happened at, between that point. I'm leaving out a lot of stuff to fill in the story. We'd have to go back to Los Alamos and well, I really don't want to talk about that. The
Top secret weapons stuff that you were working on.
No, I'm talking about the 115.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I don't know. I have to think about how I'd.
What is the problem with this?
I don't want to get myself into more trouble by admitting something. So I just have to dance around a couple.
He was rated just during the filming of the movie. People thought it was
the movie's
made up.
great, by the way.
Thanks, Joe.
And it's on Netflix right now if anybody wants to check it out. Kyle Kalinske sent me something today. I wanted you to see, Jamie. It's there's some shit going down with UFO sightings.
Oh yeah,
I guess those videos
I've
we've played before.
Well, yeah,
I
but
don't know that they were new. But
here
they're
I'll
on-
send it to you.
I've been following this stuff.
Yeah, it's hold on a second, Jamie.
This thing.
All right, I just texted it to you. Pentagon officially releases UFO. This is the tweet. It says, new Pentagon formally released 3 mysterious UFO videos captured by Navy pilots. The already leaked videos showed what DOD insists on calling unidentified aerial phenomenon, moving at incredible speeds and performing near impossible maneuvers. This is a weird subject because it's one of those subjects where people automatically dismiss it because it's been so touted by kooks. There's so many wacky fucks that have talked about UFOs that anybody talking about UFOs has to be out of their fucking mind. But then when you see these videos and you see them performing these impossible tasks, like these things are moving in a way that we've never seen anything move before, flipping upside down and sideways, moving at insane rates of speed. Like, they don't know what these are.
Yeah.
Aerial phenomena.
What's interesting, though, is I was reading one of these stories, and they passively mentioned that the sighting was near a U.S. naval technology station of some sort, like a top secret development. And I'm like,
that could be one of two things: either it's developed by the people that are at that base, or they're monitoring the people that are at that base. These aircraft, we call them aircraft, are displaying characteristics that are not currently within the U.S. inventory nor any foreign inventory that we are aware of. Maybe they see this shit that's going down with China and all the ships being moved and like, listen, you fuckheads.
the aliens?
Yeah. Maybe they're like, listen, you fucking morons, you territorial apes.
I'd like to think that, but
You don't think so?
Manhattan Project, man. I mean, the U.S. has probably got some crazy motherfucking weapons.
Could be, but the Manhattan Project was also coincidentally right after they started detonating bombs when the aliens started showing up.
That's what they think, right?
Yeah, well, that was when the bulk of U.S. sightings started jumping, and worldwide, I believe, too.
Maybe we've slowly been getting more and more information about this. I've been actually reading a lot of these stories over the past several months. More admissions from government, more release of documents, and more sightings. So there's been a big, I don't want to call it, well, a lot of people murmuring that April was going to be the month when we finally learn the truth. April's almost up.
It's almost up.
It's almost up.
We got like a few days.
Nah, man.
The 27th?
You know what I used?
More days is left.
Do you know?
30?
Do you know about what happened? Do you know about the O'Hare Airport sighting?
Which one's that?
So this was, I think, in like 2006 at Chicago's International O'Hare. A UFO came down and hovered above. I can't remember which terminal it was. It hovered for a few minutes, I think, and then shot straight, punched a hole in the clouds. Everybody saw it happen. Now, I had just quit working at O'Hare around this time when the sighting happened, so I had friends who were still there. I had a friend tell me that when this UFO came down, people on Mannheim Road, which is the road on the side of O'Hare, got out of their cars, like just stopped at the light, got up, and were looking and staring at it. And that the people who were working, where we worked for American Eagle Airlines, walked out of the rooms and were just staring at it float and then shoot up and punch a hole in the clouds. And you know what they said? Weather phenomenon. So there's a photo of it. A pilot took a photo of it. This is back when very early phone cameras, so it's a very grainy, awful picture.
There it is right there.
That's not it. No, that's super fake. I think.
I don't know
No,
It is, I'm trying to
these are all
guess.
people trying to fake. It's really hard to find. That one is not. That one might be it, but I don't think so. It barely looks like
Chicago
anything.
O'Hare UFO sighting 2006. Is that it
Yeah.
right there?
I do not believe those are it. No. So
Well, click on that article. See what it says, Jamie.
That's just some blog.
that one might be on the left, but so many people try exploiting this stuff for clicks and for views, and they make these fake photos. And
That
it was
link's not working?
I've clicked on it a few times. It's just
it was a very very faint photo from the cockpit. It might be that one right there in the middle. On the on the left side.
Far left?
It might be that
Oh.
one. No, that's not it. That's not it. Well, there was a really crappy photo of it, and
That might be it.
that might be. It was out of the cockpit of a window. A pilot took a photo, and I wonder where have all the sightings gone since phones became ubiquitous. I mean, there's a simple, I guess excuse. The aliens, they're sentient. They know we have phones. They're like, okay, stop, decloaking or whatever. But I wonder if, why is it there were so many UFOs and then around the time cell phone cameras come out, they're gone.
Well, I think most people are full of shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think most people like to pretend they see things that don't really see things. But
Yep.
I don't think that excludes the possibility. It's not like these things are mutually exclusive. Like people are full of shit, therefore aliens don't exist.
Yeah.
I think aliens could be real and people are full of shit. And I think that it's very rare that they visit us. But if they
Why
do,
would they?
how often do scientists go to the Congo to study chimps? I mean, how many people do they send
Let me-
to the bottom of the ocean to look for new life forms? How rare is it?
Let me trip you out.
Okay.
On that idea. We put decoys up for animals. Animals can't tell the difference. What if you've actually met a decoy person? You couldn't tell the difference.
Maybe it's you, bro.
Maybe it's me. That's right.
And that's
put
why
me
you're
here.
able to work so much.
Oh yeah, I'm a robot.
You don't get tired.
No.
So you're interested in news and disseminating factual evidence.
Because what I'm actually doing is collecting a database for the aliens. No, but I thought about this because I saw a photo on Reddit of a puffin, I think it's called, the bird, and they put up a fake puffin, and it's because I think they're called puffins. It's because the birds don't like nesting in places where they're alone, and so by putting the decoy there, the other birds would start coming, and like one bird showed up and was hanging out with the decoy, and I'm like, could you imagine you see we put duck decoys in the water, we do duck calls. And the duck's like, ooh, hey, fly honey, I'm going to come over and check this out. And it's like a wood block. Could you imagine seeing a beautiful woman or someone you're attracted to and being like, ooh, look at that. And it's really like an alien decoy just to probe you and better understand you or something.
Well, the decoy, just the term decoy is weird because decoys are used for hunting. Like turkey, it's turkey season right now.
Yeah.
And the way most guys hunt for turkeys, they take a rubber turkey. You put that fucker out in the middle of the field, and then you hide behind a bush with a shotgun. You go, bark, 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 bark. And then the
Right.
turkeys hear it, and they come over and they try to get some pussy, and then they get shot.
So what if, you see some dude or it's like you see it for you, it'd probably be a beautiful woman. You want to get that pussy and, and then she's going like, hey, come over here. And you're like, oh, hey, me. And
And
then,
then I get eaten.
no, they just, take you up in the ship, probe you and
I
learn
don't
about
think
your
they
butt.
need to. This is the thing about putting things up your butt.
I'm
Most
just kidding,
doctors
man.
don't even do that. They have MRIs now. Don't aliens need to probe you in your ass? I think it's just what everyone's afraid of. They're afraid of things going in their ass. So that's what they think is going to happen if the aliens get them. They're going to freeze me and touch my ass.
Somebody
Woo.
told a dumb story back in the day, and it was the most sensational version. Everybody had to have it, so they were like, "That's what they went with,"
Maybe, or maybe they do that to keep your mouth shut. They
Or-
fuck you in the ass just so you keep your mouth shut.
Or some dude actually got abducted, right?
Yeah.
And he comes back, and he's like, "They think they won against me. They think they beat me. They put stuff up my butt. They're weirdos."
Do you ever hear
They're
the story,
weirdos, not me.
story of Betty and Barney Hill?
No.
It's the very first UFO abduction story. It's an ancient story. And what's crazy is Angela Hill, who's a UFC fighter, I had her on the podcast. And after the show, she told me her grandpa was Barney Hill.
Whoa.
And I was like, holy fuck. We didn't talk about it during the show, but she wanted to bring it up because she knows I'm kind of obsessed with UFOs. But the account that they have, they get hypnotized and he's recalling the abduction and they have the same story. It's very terrifying. You hear him crying and screaming and, that he was taken aboard this craft and examined and brought back and they have missing time. But here's the thing. If they only did that occasionally, They only came down once every few years and just scooped some person up in the middle of some rural place. Like if you're flying over, I think their instance was I believe it was in Maine. If you're flying over somewhere like Maine, which is a very low population state, and you see a lone car, and it's just traveling along the highway, and there's places in Maine where you go from like Portland to Bangor. When you're traveling on that road, it's like 60 miles with nothing, not a gas station, nothing. If you were an alien and you saw a car by itself, you're like, no other car, let's move in, we got one.
Isn't it just easier to think it's the U.S. government?
No.
Why not?
Because we don't have the capability of doing something like that. I don't think the capability of the scientists working for the government is any different than the capability of the scientists that are working for, Project X or, fill in the blanks in terms of like what Raytheon, publicly traded companies.
How long? Look, quadcopters don't seem all that complicated to me. Right?
Quadcopters.
Yeah, like
helicopters,
like drones. We've seen the little drone toys you buy. They got 4 propellers. Take that concept, use thinner, jets, and surround it in a disc so that it's, universally like it can move in any direction because it's got, because it's
what
omnidirectional.
power source? Where's the gas tank?
Lithium-ion battery, or.
Come on, man. You're talking space shit. Like this hasn't even been invented yet. Think about how little mileage you can get out of a Tesla.
They had
as advanced as Tesla is. Still, when it's going full out, it can only go for. You get 307 miles if you drive like a grandma, but if you drive like a maniac, you don't even get half that.
That they. I could be wrong with this, but I'm pretty sure that they had this flying platform in the 70s that uses gas power, and they've also had jetpacks for a long time.
No, they've had sort of. They've had jetpacks that are capable of going for like 30 seconds. They don't. I've experienced.
No. I'm pretty sure the jetpacks back in the day went for a long time.
No, they definitely didn't.
We can look it up.
Yeah, let's look it up because they definitely didn't. The whole thing was the fact they were burning gas, and to propel you in the air, they only had a certain amount.
I thought it was like 30 minutes.
Maybe now.
My understanding of why we abandoned jetpack technology was that it was inefficient and heavy, and you couldn't carry it without it being turned on. So they opted for larger, what are they called? Chinooks, helicopters that can carry multiple people at once. When you're wearing a jetpack, it has to be on idle, negating its own weight, which means it's burning as you're walking around, which means you get a good 20-minute jump and you got to abandon the tech. And then you don't want your enemies to get it.
Have you ever seen a guy fly a jetpack?
Yeah, there's a video on YouTube.
No, I mean in real life.
Oh, I've seen that one guy, the Iron Man dude. Well, not in real life.
I've been there in real life. My friend Willie B from in Denver on the radio.
Yeah.
He had a radio show in the morning. I used to do his radio show. I think he still has a radio show. Shout out to Willie. And he had this guy who was a jetpack pilot who came in the parking lot of the radio studio, and fans of the radio show came and did it too, and watched it rather. And this guy flew in the air for about 15, 20 seconds and then landed. This guy was so banged up, both of his legs were blown apart. He had big braces on both of his knees. I'm like, what happened to your knees? He's like, just crash landing. Both of my knees are blown to shit. He had no ACLs in either one of his knees. But
that's what I'm saying.
It's
jetpacks.
Good this is back then. It was good for about 30 seconds. 30 seconds of flying.
Well, so the point I was trying to get to is if you take something like a quadcopter, you could absolutely fuel it with gas or
whatever. It'd be loud as fuck.
But it would depending on how you mitigate the noise.
It'd be an engine. Yeah. It'd be loud as fuck.
And you'd hear from the quad rotors.
Yeah, but what these people are describing is nothing like that. These people are describing things that are silent, that go from 0 to 1,000 miles an hour in a split second, things that defy physics as we understand them. Yeah. This is not something that I think that the U.S. government has. If you look at like Elon Musk company, Project X or SpaceX. SpaceX is right now one of the premier civilian companies, private companies that's making rocket ships. They fuck up all the time.
Totally.
They're in the middle of innovating all the time. He's one of the smartest people on earth. He's one of in terms of technology, he knows as much about propulsion as anyone, and they still can't get it right. They're still trying to figure it out. They're trying to come up with something that could be viable in terms of commercial space flight, and they're working on it daily. And these people are the brightest minds we know of right now that are in this jet propulsion, space travel business. There's, Virgin's working on something. There's a couple other companies that are working on things as well. And then you have NASA, which worked. The best they could come up with was the space shuttle.
Right.
Do you think that there was something way better than space shuttle that they just never used, and that they had, and they kept it on the back burner, didn't want to let anybody know? But the way they would use it is they would pick people up and erase their memory and toy with their asshole. That's crazy.
Well,
That's less likely than the hundreds of billions of galaxies, just in our own known universe, right? Each one with hundreds of billions of stars. Each star with who knows how many fucking planets. That's somewhere out there that's something more advanced than us. Maybe 1,000 years, maybe 1,000,000 years.
But
that's figured out how to come here.
I got the same question then. Why hasn't anyone discovered them? Why has SETI failed? Search for extraterrestrial intelligence.
Why haven't the
nothing.
chimps invented guns?
They've started using more tools, but
Right. Why haven't they invented guns, though?
I don't know.
So why hasn't SETI found UFOs? It's the same fucking answer. They're not advanced enough yet. It's a real simple answer. The industrial age is pretty fucking recent.
Right.
I mean, you think about when people invented cars. You're talking about 1800. That's really recent.
And we've
Plane
only used
flights, 1800s.
High power radio transmission is only in the past 100 years or so.
Right. Well, you ever seen the movie Contact?
Maybe. That's an old one, right?
It's Jodie Foster and Matthew McConaughey. It's based on Carl Sagan's book about contact with space and with aliens, how it's going to go down.
I think I did see it recently. I can't remember.
Interesting take on it. But
Oh,
the
yeah,
idea
wait,
is that they've received the signal that we sent out way, way back, in the day. Actually, when the first broadcast signal was Hitler announcing the Olympic Games, the start of the Berlin
wow.
Games. And this was the first signal they got. It was a really controversial moment in the movie, or controversy, in the plot, with that once they were trying to decipher the image that was being sent, they realized it was Hitler.
Yeah.
The first thing they see is a swastika, and they're like, what the fuck is this?
They sent it back to us?
And then they had to realize, oh, no, this is the first image that we sent out to space. They wouldn't be able to understand the political or historical context of this. And
Well, so I got a few. There's a few issues I see in terms of aliens and Earth contact. Right, we are substantially more connected, in an evolutionary chain to ants than we are to any alien. So we can't communicate with them for the most part. We kind of can. We understand how they communicate. But when an ant sees a superhighway, this is someone else's quote. They don't think twice. So it's possible there are aliens that have superhighways right above us. We can't tell what it is. Same as a dog doesn't understand other than stay away from it. But one of the issues I think is often neglected in the conversation about aliens is we assume aliens would be on a very similar planet to us. We assume that they would have some kind of gaseous atmosphere, perhaps it's a liquid atmosphere. And one of the things that I would ask of a researcher, because I'm not the expert, is the fact that we have the proper balance of oxygen in the atmosphere to manipulate fire, which allows us to separate elements and then create computers and components and fuels, wouldn't exist on a planet without the same atmosphere we existed in.
Okay, stop. I can answer that really easily.
Yeah.
There's no known propulsion system for any of these crafts. These things are not using fire. They don't have a heat signal. They don't know what they are. They don't know how they work.
I don't mean propulsion. I mean the separation of elements, the manipulation of elements, right? So we melt things and separate them and break them down.
They don't believe that that's how it works.
No, but I mean, like, how do you even start from? I'm sure there's an answer. Let's say you have a species that lives on a planet with no oxygen and has no access to fire. What what dense energy source do they have that will allow them to manipulate matter?
Do you know the Bob Lazar story?
I do.
Yeah. Well, one of the things that he talked about when he first stopped working for Area S4 and the government was tapping his phones, and there's a lot that can be documented about him. There's a lot that can't be. But one of the things that he talked about was a thing called element 115.
Right. That
element 115 is this insanely dense element that they use to bend gravity. And that the way he described the way the propulsion system works, it's like putting a bowling ball in the center of a very soft mattress, and that all of the other mattress, all the rest of the mass of the mattress bends around the intense mass of the bowling ball, and that this is how these incredibly advanced aliens from this other planet use. This is their propulsion system.
That was
they use this.
From Star Trek, though. The concept of warp was around for a really long time.
I think the concept is based on Einstein's theory of gravity. I mean, this is the whole idea. If you could find something that could do that. But here's the thing. When Bob Lazar talked about this in the late 80s, early 90s, this element didn't exist.
Right, now it does.
It wasn't proven until they did it in a particle collider. I believe it was 2013. So he was talking about this element far before it was, and he's apparently, this is the big rumor, he apparently had taken some of that from a lab and through George Norrie, and was it George Norrie? Yes. They did some experiments on on television and showed that this stuff had made light and fog bend in a way that they couldn't describe.
Didn't he also claim to see a small alien creature on his way out?
He said he saw something that was sitting down, but he doesn't know if it was a model that they were using, like if they had created something that was supposed to be the size of a thing that could fit in these crafts, because these crafts, he said, were designed for things that were far smaller than human beings.
I'm pretty sure in the initial interview he gave when he went public was that he saw an alien, and then later on changed it saying, I don't know if it was maybe a model or a puppet.
Yeah, he said he thought he saw something sitting down and two people standing over it looking at it. He said he thought he saw an alien.
You know,
but he's probably... I mean, I don't know. I mean, look, he said it was literally for like a half a second. Like he's walking by a window and he sees something inside of it. Imagine being a guy who's in your 20s and you're a propulsions expert, and it's been proven that he worked at Los Alamos Labs, and it's been proven that he did put a fucking jet engine. It's been proven that he did put a jet engine on a Honda. I mean, he's a genius. And you talk to him, he's an incredibly smart guy. Now imagine you get sent off to Area S4. And they show you this thing that you know doesn't even exist. And they tell you about this propulsion method that they don't understand. And they say that they found this a long time ago in an archaeological dig. And they want you to back engineer it because you're a propulsions expert and they're running out of options. They've been studying this for decades. No one knows what the fuck it is or how you can make it work. And then they do test flights with this thing. And then he tells his friends about these test flights. After he gets fired, you know how he got fired? Do you know a story about him getting fired?
He leaked it or something, yeah?
No, his wife was fucking her flight instructor.
Oh.
And so when his wife was fucking her flight instructor, they told him he couldn't work anymore. And he's like, why not? Well, they were tapping his phone because when you have top secret clearance to work on UFOs, I guess they don't want your wife fucking her flight instructor because then you're going to go crazy and you have a lot of imbalance at home, right? So he doesn't know why. They don't tell him why. So he takes his friends and he tells them, listen, this is real. They're running these experiments. I know you're thinking I'm crazy. This is what I've been working on. So he takes them to this area where you used to be able to have access to, but once he did this, they closed off access and pushed it far back to where the public has access to. And he showed them these things doing these impossible maneuvers in the desert, in the night sky.
This I remember.
And so then he gets arrested. And so when he gets arrested, he was in fear of his own life. He goes public and tells this whole story. And then they erase his past. They erase his social security number. They erase his education background. Even though people that knew him and knew he worked at Los Alamos Labs, he takes George Norrie of a tour of Los Alamos Labs, knows the people that work there. They all say hi to him. He takes them on a tour around the laboratory. Shows them around, shows them the devices they use for biometric security. And
I think the one thing you can't ignore is that there was documentation that he did work at one of these places.
Yes.
And they later claimed he didn't.
Yes.
And like I think I was watching the thing on, maybe it was Netflix. I think like he promoted that, right? It was on Netflix. They show the paper, like we found it.
Yes.
Like he clearly was there.
He was in the employee register.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. No.
But you know, for me, man, I'd love to believe it all.
He's been insanely consistent about that story.
Yeah.
For 40 years.
I want to believe. You know what I mean?
Or 30 years, whatever it's been. I want to believe too. That's the problem.
Man, Pixar didn't happen.
I want to believe, but that's nonsense. Pixar, it didn't happen is nonsense.
Well,
how do you what about Neanderthals?
No,
what about dinosaurs? There's no pics.
I'm more so joking, right? What I mean is, show me the evidence, right?
I get it.
Let's, the challenge with any theory. I don't like saying conspiracy theory because they're not always conspiracies. Is that people want something to be true. And so they end up looking for things to justify what they think it already is.
Of course.
Instead of starting with what you've got and trying to figure out where it goes from there.
But when you start with what you've got a guy who was living in Vegas, was taking these flights out to Area S4, knows the place, knows it inside out, can describe it very accurately. also worked at Los Alamos
this
Labs,
proves he was there.
describes that very accurately.
Right.
Yeah,
It proves he worked there.
yeah, and
But
also proves he's also a legitimate scientist.
But what
I
if-
mean, when you talk to the guy, he's a brilliant guy.
But-
He's not a nut.
Right.
But what?
Are you saying aliens?
That doesn't mean aliens.
No, I'm just asking. Like, so
It doesn't mean aliens, but that's what he was told.
Right.
What he was told is this is something that has come from somewhere else, and they're trying to figure out how to work it, how to use
what
it.
if we're in a simulation and this was something that was leftover code, or it wasn't supposed to be placed in this certain iteration?
Or what if there's multiple dimensions that we don't
Yeah.
have access to, and that these things do? Aykroyd's crazy into UFOs. He's like one of the main celebrities they pull up when people start talking about like UFO real believers. He's done like little clips where he narrates things, UFO shows and shit. He fucking believes.
Well, didn't they just release that there's even more belief now about
Yeah.
UFOs?
Yeah, it's fun. I don't know if it's real, but it's fun. That's how I feel.
Doug, I did a podcast with Jim Florentine, and I explained to Jim Florentine that what people don't know is that Hudson County, New Jersey, northern New Jersey, is the number one place in the country where they have the most UFO sightings.
Really? Northern New Jersey.
Look it up, Jamie, if you get a minute, please, not to be rude.
But isn't that like near a couple airports?
No, it's closer to like like when you live in New York City and you look at the Hudson River.
Mm-hmm.
They say that people go on their balcony, they're drinking coffee, they're talking on the phone, and they'll see a little flying saucer go by.
Really?
And I know for a fact that in 1976,
A little one?
whatever the fuck they are, I know for a fact that in 1975 and 1976, you could check me out on this. A UFO landed in Hudson County Park. I was a kid, and the next day the feds locked off the park. They had yellow tape. They had
What?
samples. Go look it up, dog. There's a UFO. You see that's called, North Bergen is where I'm from. That's called, I forget what it's called, but it's a circular building. So they did so much coke in there in the 80s, they called it the grinder. That's what they called it, because it was shaped like the Stonehenge. The Stonehenge. I have a couple friends that lived there. People that lived in that building have seen UFOs for fucking years. And if you go to YouTube, there's an actual North Hudson Park UFO. Wow. They dug up, they came out there's a liquor store. And the liquor store guy says he's seen the lights. Mm-hmm. You heard like the organ music that they play. Ooh. They landed. A couple Martians got out and took samples and got back in the thing and took off. There's a YouTube thing. There's a History Channel special about it. And I still remember being a young kid.
Did you find anything, Jamie?
It's just, that was what's popping up, all that stuff about that building and
Oh,
tons of
yeah.
things.
No.
Is there anything that says a UFO landed?
That's the story I'm reading right now is what he's saying. Yeah.
And witnesses. It's not just one guy that says, "I know UFO." It's people who got knocked on the door and said, "Did you see anything at 11:10 at night?" And they said, "You know what? There were lights flashing outside." They contacted police departments to see if there was any. They went full. Then the FBI came in, circled the park. It was by the Little League field in Hudson County. But it is like you'd think it was Area 51. You'd think it was close to northern Las Vegas. The number one place to see UFOs is northern New Jersey. They even made a reference to it in The Sopranos when he said something. He goes, "What are you talking about? Last week you said you seen a UFO in Hackensack." Because that's where they're at. Hackensack, Moonachie.
Right.
All those. You ever go to Moonachie, New Jersey? A lot of ugly
Yeah.
people. A lot of people with big heads. The only good thing in Moonachie, New Jersey is fucking Segovia, Spanish restaurant. It's been there since 19 fucking Schlemensky. I don't know. But that's the only good thing about Moonachie. I think those people in Moonachie have been abducted. There you go. And they put them back as big-headed motherfuckers.
I did a gig there a couple times.
Oh, yeah, there used to be like a bar. There's a bar that did something in Moonachie.
Was that a Bob Gonzo gig?
Yes, outside the Sea Caucus.
Was it?
Yeah, it's outside. No. I think Bob is more down the shore and
He
stuff.
he had gigs all over.
He had
the
gigs
place.
all over, Bob. How I met Bob was he did a gig in Romano's Italian restaurant in my hometown. And my buddy's like, "Hey, aren't you a comedian? Let's take you up there." And we went up there, and Bob's like, "I don't know him." He said, "Unknown." And next thing Bob came up to me, he's like, "Dog, I got to put you up because my friends threatened me." So Bob put me up, and we've become friends ever since.
That's awesome.
I think I follow him on Facebook. We have a chat from time to time on Facebook. But yeah, for you UFO motherfuckers, look into northern New Jersey. That's the fucking motherload of them.
That's interesting. I had read that before, but I kind of
There you go, 51.
51 UFO sightings in 2018. You get biased because the story is always some person in the woods and they get abducted. They see a UFO in some strange town in the middle of nowhere. The aliens land, abduct people. You always think about it being a rural thing. But if I was an alien, of course I'd go to New York City. Of course I'd go to New Jersey. What the fuck? Why wouldn't you? You want to go see the craziest thing we have? You got like 7 million people stuffed together on a fucking tiny island in comparison to the rest of the planet. Stuff stacked on top of each other. Awesome, amazing buildings. All these lights at Times Square. Look at all these people mulling around, traveling over these bridges to get to this one hub, this one hive of humanity. Of course, if I was an alien, I would check that out.
Well,
Why would I look at a barn? You know what I mean?
You used to have a joke that the United States is the Tijuana
Of outer space.
of outer space. Like that. Like, what are we doing this weekend? We're going to fucking.
They come down when they're fucked up and they want to see a show.
They want to see a show.
That was the whole bit, is that I think aliens come here when they're high. They just get fucked up. They're like, come on, let's go check out the monkeys. Let's go, dude. Come on, let's abduct a couple of them. Have a good time. Let's go see the monkey people.
I never saw a fucking UFO.
I want to. I never have, though.
I want to see it land, and I want to see one of those green dudes get out. So I
think I thought I saw some shit when I was a kid, but as I got older, I thought that was like a fighter jet or something. That's what that was. Like there was something. God, it's a real sketchy memory. It's one of those memories that's like barely active. But I remember thinking for like a day or two when I was like a little kid, maybe I saw a UFO. But I think I was trying to convince myself of it. You know, I was bored. But I think it was a jet. I think it was something fast and unusual. Have you ever seen one of those stealth bombers? That looks like a fucking UFO. Have you ever seen one of those things in the sky?
No, yes.
It looks like a Star Wars
Like when you go to
movie.
like a Blue Angel fucking thing, those planes.
Yeah,
that
they're
they
probably
use?
no. Those are like, I think those are FA-18s. That's what I think it is. I think that's what that is. I flew in one of those. I had a bit about that too. Yeah, you got to do that. You hold on to the hand. You got to do it. You hook. You either hold on to your handle if you're steering the plane, or you hold on to your straps if you're a passenger. I was in the passenger seat, so I grabbed a hold of my straps, and you have to go like this, hoot, 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 and you have to force blood into your brain to stay awake. That's how much G-force you're going through. It's insane.
Force blood into your brain to stay awake.
See, that's one of those stealth bombers. I saw one of those in the air over, I guess it's Edwards Air Force Base. Is that what the one it is? Is Edwards the one that's out near Palmdale? I think that's it.
Yeah.
Because we used to film Fear Factor in Palmdale, and we saw that thing fly overhead like that. Look at that thing. Tell me that doesn't look like it's from another planet. When you're on the ground and you see that fly overhead, you're like, what the fuck is that? So I think that's responsible for a bunch of the things that people saw. I think it's military crafts.
Can I ask you a question on that article you pulled up, the 51 sightings? What type of sightings do you
Look
have?
at this fucking thing.
What is considered a sighting?
Well, the thing is, like, you just see shit. But how do you know if... What are you doing, Jim?
These are the sightings.
Okay, but go back to that video. Look at that thing. I mean, come on. If you're just sitting on the ground, you saw that, you're like, they're coming! The aliens are coming! That does not look like it's from this world. That thing is madness.
Especially with those two guys next to him.
God, it's fucking beautiful, though. Like, what an amazing design. That thing flying through, it looks like something on a keyboard. You know, it looks like a symbol on a keyboard. And it's just flying perfectly through the air. That looks like the future. I mean, that really does look like it's from another world. I would imagine, like, little blue dudes with black eyes and talking to each other in that thing. Going through fucking wormholes and shit. I mean, that's what that thing looks like. And what's the thing that they're going to have 100 years from now? Just imagine that.
I just want to know what the logistics is for it to be considered a legitimate sighting.
Legitimate sighting?
Legitimate sighting.
It just means that someone saw it. You know, you don't, like, if you're a lawyer, okay, and you see something, and then you convince yourself that what you saw was something extraordinary, and you have the feeling that you're looking at something from another world. But if it's just some drone or some military vehicle, and then you look at it, and then you convince yourself, then it becomes a bigger and bigger deal in your head. That's a problem with people. Doesn't mean that everybody that sees something is seeing that, but people are kind of full of shit.
Well, let's say there's a 1-800 call Martian. Mm-hmm. All right. I see a fucking thing. I call that thing.
1-800 call Martian.
Yeah, call Martian. Okay, whatever the fuck.
Okay.
1-800 Martian.
Right.
The phone won't stop ringing. Okay, the phone won't stop ringing. It will never stop ringing.
There'll be people talking to Martians.
My concern is, when do they consider it credible? What does it take for it to be credible? For me, for it to be credible, I got to see the motherfucker land, get out.
My take is usually military guys. When you have military fighter pilots, that's an extraordinary human. If you can be one of those guys that flies one of those B-2s, for them to trust you with that $1 billion fucking spaceship, dude, you got to be an exceptional human. There's no room for someone who's full of shit. You're going to be a top flight fighter pilot. You're going to fly around with gunfights in the sky, because that's what they do. They have gunfights in the fucking sky. Those guys are exceptional human beings. So when they see something, that's when I listen, for sure. Everybody else, I'm not that I wouldn't listen, but I don't know. You might be crazy. But you might be crazy even if you're in the military. You might be crazy if you're a fighter pilot. It's 100% possible.
So those fighter pilots and all those Air Force pilots that do test runs or whatever, they say that they see things?
There's a bunch of sightings. Not only a bunch of sightings, there's a bunch of sightings from these really credible guys. What is this? Fleet of UFOs followed U.S. aircraft Navy pilot says.
Yeah,
May
this is
29th.
what I'm talking about.
See, these guys that are talking about these things, these aren't guys with histories of embellishing things. They have this, whatever that is. Is that radar? What are they looking at? Is that infrared? Like, what is that screen that they're looking for? Does it say what kind of image it is? Because it's like a weird look. It's not like a photograph, right? It's like a weird computer image. Because it's detecting it, right, with some piece of equipment, right? Isn't it? Like tracking it on radar or something like that?
I know what you're saying, because I feel like I've heard that description of it too, but this article just says it's video of 2 aerial encounters.
That's tremendous.
But that video doesn't look very clear. Why isn't it clear? My phone does a better job than that shit.
They don't have very good cameras on those.
Cameras,
they have good cameras. I mean, they don't have good ones, but in order to catch movement at that high speed up there, yada, yada, all that stuff.
Oh, so it would require some exceptional gear.
I think. And it could have also been at night. I don't know what time of day it was.
So convenient. So convenient that they never have a clear picture. That drives me fucking crazy. It drives me fucking crazy, because if it is real, I want it to be real. Honestly. I really do. But when I look at it, I go, God damn, so many people are so crazy and so many people are so full of shit.
You personally believe, and so do I,
dun, dun, dun.
that there's other galaxies out there. There has to be.
Well, there are definitely other galaxies, other civilizations.
Other civilizations.
Yeah.
Some form, somewhere. Out of the 9 planets, there's got to be
there was
something. I don't know what. I'm not going to sit here and tell you what they're called or whatever, but there has to be something. At this point, you have to believe that.
The universe is too big. It's just too big to discount, to say, nope, I doubt it. Like, that's so crazy to say. Just because we haven't seen it yet, it's so big.
There's the explanation of what he caught and what.
He said that though tracking equipment, radar, and infrared cameras on his aircraft detected UFOs both times, he was unable to capture them on his helmet camera. Okay.
So maybe he couldn't look at it, get it in good vision or whatever. I don't
maybe.
know.
Yeah.
Or that's a good reason why he.
I would imagine as fast as those goddamn things are going, it must be really hard to get a camera to be able to constantly focus in and out. And
that's interesting. He says that Lieutenant Ryan Graves, Graves, whatever, a squadron of UFOs followed his Navy strike group up and down the eastern coast of the U.S. for months. That's, I'm telling you, little fucking. I read something about the Hudson River, that all those people that live across the Hudson River, whether on the Weehawken and Edgewater side or the west side of Manhattan, those are where the people on their balconies see all that shit.
Look at this shit. We did have issues with them when we went to the Middle East, Lieutenant Graves said. Imagine them following the war. Imagine if they were aliens and they came down to follow the war. So they see the war going on in Iraq,
how crazy is
Afghanistan. They come down and they're checking it out.
Just to go on the cynical side of this, they're not necessarily saying they are an alien ship. They're saying it's a UFO, so it's something they're not sure of. What if it's some sort of awesome drone that some Middle Eastern company has, and it can just follow shit or
Possible.
move faster or something. Who
Sure.
knows? I don't know.
That would be the more likely
Yeah,
explanation,
I guess.
right? Terrestrial would be more likely that someone has advanced shit. We know they have advanced shit. I mean, we know they have incredible drones. You know, I mean, the stuff that they can do.
Dog, I heard they got drones. That green berets or SEALs, you put razor blades on them, and they slit your fucking throat when you're driving.
Whoa.
That's how good the technology is on those drones.
Jesus Christ. I wouldn't be shocked if they could do all kinds of things that
You
we
could
can't
be
expect.
standing there, and they could take the drone to just come down.
Yeah.
And fucking, they put razor blades on them or some shit.
Well, you could totally see someone having a small drone, like a small thing, like the size of a cheeseburger, that has poison in it, and you just slam it into somebody. I could see that. But you're seeing, when you're seeing stuff that's flying around the sky, most likely is made by a person, because people make stuff, and people know how to make stuff that flies around the sky. But then when you get to shit that like defies physics, like some of the things these fighter pilots see, that's when you got to go, wait a minute. You see these extraordinary feats of traversing distances, like they can get from one place to another place so fast it looks like they disappear. This is something they all talk about. They all talk about the insane speed at which these things can go. They can just change angles. They can just go and then take a hard right angle turn. They can do stuff that nothing that we know how to make can do. That's where it gets to be like, whoa, like nothing. It's not like it's like, oh, that's like a fighter jet, but like really fast. You know what I'm saying? It's like an alien car. Oh, it's like a car, but it's way faster. Like, it's an alien car. But this is not like anything that we make. These fucking things, they fly this way, they say, flat, like a plate hovering over the ground. But when they go to fly, when they go to take off, they flip up sideways. And they have like the bottom of the spaceship is pointing towards where it wants to go. And it does something to space and time, make some sort of fucking magnetic gravity connection, insert big spooky words, whatever. They don't know how the fuck it does it, right? This thing can go like insane distances in insanely small amounts of time. Then when they all report the same kind of behavior of these, I mean, so many of these reports are like that. They're talking about this thing that goes insanely fast, turns on its side. It looks like a Tic Tac. It looks like a saucer. It looks like they're trying to figure out what the fuck the shape is because it's moving so goddamn fast. But it's doing stuff that nothing we know how to make can do. I don't know if it's from another planet. It might be from here, but it's exciting. It's exciting shit. I want it to be from another planet. That's what I want, like unbiased, like what I would love it. Just be completely honest. I would love it if it was aliens. But if it was people, I'd be even more scared because like, goddamn, people can do that. People can do that, and no one knew. Like if you can imagine a person who can make a spaceship that defies all of the rules that we know about travel, about air travel. If they can make something that defies all that shit and somehow or another keep the whole development and production of it a secret and then have this thing and take it off and no one knows how the fuck they did it, that's almost more impressive than aliens. Because that's what these things are doing is so if these pilots are accurately reading what's happening and they're telling the truth, the thing that's remarkable is their stories are very consistent. There's a lot of very similar stories from different people that they make a living flying super fast warships. They see things. They know what the fuck they're looking at. They see something they don't know. They're like, what in the fuck is that? When they see something like that, that freaks me out. That's when it gets me. Because when some fucking kid's riding his bike to school and he looks up and he sees a UFO, okay, maybe it did happen. Maybe it did happen. Maybe the kid's being 100% honest. Or maybe he was bored. Maybe he was bored and decided to make up a crazy story and stuck with it. And then after a while telling it, maybe he believed it himself. That happens too. People see things. They don't know what they're seeing and they decide that it's a different thing. I've said this before, but it's a true story. When I was in Alberta, there's wolves there. And I thought I saw a wolf for like a whole second. It was a squirrel. It was a fucking squirrel. But I saw gray fur movement wolf squirrel. Like if you're dumb or if you're compromised or if maybe you're a little drunk, maybe you're a little tired, maybe you just saw something that looked really weird because of, whatever weather conditions that are affecting some part of the world you live in. There's things called ball lightning, flies through the air. It looks like a UFO. You ever see that shit? It's like a real natural phenomenon. Somebody might see something like that and then add a bunch of other shit to it. And that's where you get a lot of these stories. You get like natural phenomenon and then people adding a bunch of shit to things. But then on top of that, you have credible stories. And you can't throw out any of them. Like it's when you look at all these things, you can't decide just because there's a bunch of crackpot stories about UFOs that the ones by legitimate fighter pilots, that those aren't real. You can't look at it that way. It's crazy to look at it that way. Because it's more likely there's something out there than there isn't something out there. It's way more likely.
When I was a kid and that happened in Hudson County Park, I wrote it off. I didn't even pay attention. I remember riding my bike up there, seeing the Fed tape and seeing people with those orange protective suits on.
Yeah.
And I was like, these people are fucking out of my mind. Then one night I got high, 5 or 6 years ago, and I saw it. And somebody had posted on Facebook or YouTube, and I read more and more into it, and I discounted it until I read the accounts of the 28 people.
Yeah.
In that building, the liquor store, there was a guy who had just got dropped off a bus from New York. There's buses drop you off there from New York. Mm-hmm. The bus driver said there was a flash. He couldn't, there were just so many people with stories that, they didn't see a fucking guy get out. Only 3 people saw people get out.
Mm.
Everybody else discounted the lights and the noise and the other bullshit that went with it. I would have shit my fucking pants if I lived in that building and saw 3 little Martians get out. Or it could just be fucking, who knows? Who gives a fuck?
Yeah, man.
I just wanted to tell you that's where
people can get freaked out, and they can, they can think all kinds of things that didn't really happen.
Hey, one night I was on acid. I thought it was I thought the FBI was out there with dogs. When I went out the next day, it was fucking a fire hydrant, all right? I dumped an ounce of coke down the toilet.
Oh, my God.
Because I hallucinated. Because when you're doing coke for more than fucking 10 hours, you start hallucinating. I started hallucinating. I thought it was fucking dogs and it was a fire hydrant. You know how stupid I felt the next day? Pretty fucking stupid. Pretty fucking stupid. I sat there and I went over and petted the hydrant. You fuck. You fuck.
This is a problem with any story, like all these fucking UFO stories. It's people's memory. Memory's not that good. It's just not that good. It's too hard to figure out what it actually looked like after you saw it. Like you see something crazy like a year ago, and then you try to describe it. It's too hard to describe. Like you barely remember it. Your version of it is a rehashed version that you keep repeating to yourself. If you saw something, like say if you were hiking and you saw a wolf, right? If you saw that wolf, when you try to describe that moment you saw that wolf years later, like what are you actually seeing when you're going into your memory? How accurate is it? We're always lying about how accurate our memory is. It's not that good. Like if you did see a wolf, which is an extraordinary moment, right? You're in the fucking forest. You're like, it's a fucking wolf. That's a wolf. And you see a real wolf looking down on you, a wild motherfucker in the woods of Canada, just looking at you, staring at you on a trail. Like that's an extraordinary moment. But if you try to recount that in your mind 10 years later, what do you actually see? How much do you actually see? You see this blurry, weird, fucking misty version, and you've got some words that fall into place that can describe it. But how accurate is your fucking memory? It's terrible.
How accurate is your memory?
It's good with statistics.
Okay.
Like I can tell you about fights. I can tell you what year someone fought. I can tell you how this guy won and how he beat this many guys with a triangle, and I remember things. But if I actually have to remember what it actually looked like in my head, I can't really pull that up. I barely can pull it up. I see it, I'll recognize it again. Like you show me Joe Schilling knocking out Melvin Manhoef in Bellator. I watched that KO so many times. A wild, crazy slugfest. And if I see it, I'm watching it happen in a video. I remember it. Yep, this is how it goes. Here it goes. Boom! boom, he KOs him. But if I had to just pull that out of my brain right now, it's not good. Do you know what I'm saying? Like if I have to close my eyes and pretend I saw Mike Tyson knock out Michael Spinks, I kind of can see little flashes. I can kind of remember weird little parts of it. I remember the final right hand. Boom! He just sends him flying through the ropes. It was chaos. It was just like he's the best ever. But if I had to play it back in my head, it wouldn't be nearly as good as a video. It's so unbelievably compelling, though, to consider the idea that somewhere out there, there's another civilization that may be even more advanced than us. And this thought of it is just so attractive. It's incredible.
There should be, if civilizations are common, or even slightly common, then there should be civilizations ahead of us.
Yes.
Because there's been so much time.
But wouldn't you want to see what that's like?
Yeah, I mean, we've been
so
around.
Compelling.
You imagine the timescales. We've been around as a civilization. Let's give it, say, 40,000 years. I don't know how long our civilization has been around. Let's say that. The galaxy is pretty much as old as the universe. It's 13 billion years worth of time. So the idea that there are no civilizations arose, 100 million years ago, 200 million years ago, 1 billion years ago. And imagine what they'd be like if they'd survived. I mean, we've been around, we've had science for, let's say, since Newton or Copernicus, 500 years at most. And look what we've done. We've gone beyond the solar system with Voyager. We've walked on the moon. We're about to go to Mars, I would think. So we're about to begin colonizing our own solar system. So we've done that in 500 years. So imagine a million years in the future. So it's one of the arguments often used to say there aren't any civilizations out there in the galaxy. It's called the Fermi paradox. Because if you imagine a civilization that's a million years ahead of us, they should have written their presence across the sky by now. You should see them. I mean, you'll see us. If we survive a million years into the future, actually even a few thousand years into the future, we will be exploring the galaxy. We will have spacecraft that are going to other stars. We will be doing it. So our signature will become visible, I'm sure, if we last into the medium term.
Would we choose to not do that? Here's my thought on that is uncontacted tribes. Like, do you know about the gentleman who was the missionary who visited North Sentinel Island and was killed by the natives? North Sentinel Island, which is a really unusual place because they branched off from Africa 60,000 years ago, and they've been living on this one small island the size of Manhattan. And as well as we know, there's only about 39 of them left, somewhere around there. Yeah. And we're not supposed to contact them. Like, people are not supposed. We're supposed to leave them alone, and they're a rare tribe. When they find them in the Amazon, the uncontacted tribes, our initial instinct is back off, leave them alone. Do you think that perhaps the universe, like if there is a civilization that's a million times more advanced than us and been around here for millions of years of life as opposed to 250,000, why would they let us know? Like, would they look at us dropping bombs on each other and polluting the ocean and sucking all the fish out and putting clouds into the skies of dirt and particles? And why would they look at these crude monkeys? Look at that. They're so far beyond where they need to be before they could join the galactic civilization network or whatever.
It is true. It's an argument that there is an argument as well that technology is so advanced would be difficult for us to detect. I mean, we tend to think of, when you say written across the sky, I suppose it's true. I'm thinking of starships and things like Star Wars, right? Big energy things that you can see the signature of. But actually, it may be that the civilization just becomes a nano civilization, tiny little nanobot, because that's more efficient. It's a better way to do things. So it's possible, I suppose, that there are space probes all over the place that are so small and are so efficient and use so little energy that we just don't see them. I suppose that is possible.
There's a theory that is actually being tossed about that these people that have this ancient, they have this memory of childbirth, right? So all of a sudden you're being born, there's bright lights above you, there's a man or a woman who's the surgeon with a mask that covers their face, so all you see is their eyes. And everything looks bright and it's terrifying and clinical, and you're on this table and everything's cold. most of these alien abduction experiences that people recount, they take place in some sort of a medical
Hospital
facility
setting. Yeah.
Yeah, and everything is bright and strange and cold, and they think that what this is they're saying that we had this idea that children don't have memories, that babies don't have memories,
I see
and so they're saying,
yeah.
well, why wouldn't they have memories? That's ridiculous.
Right,
Of course they
yeah.
have memories. They have brains. They grab your
Right.
finger, they look you in the eye. They would have a memory of every second that they were born, and it's probably one of the most profound and disturbing memories because before that, everything is incredibly
Yeah,
peaceful.
yeah.
You're inside the mother's womb.
And then you're just like taken
and then
out.
you're pulled out,
yeah.
and then there's this bright light above you.
Yeah.
You've never experienced any light.
Yeah.
So and your visual perception, your field of view is all distorted, right? This is the
Oh,
first
it's
time you're using
interesting.
your eyes. That's why people have
So
the
it's like
same.
tapping into this memory,
Yes.
this early memory. That's interesting.
This
yeah.
is a theory. It makes sense to me because if you think about
Makes more sense than the abduction.
well, it does because people don't really go anywhere. See, the thing about the abduction thing
Yeah.
is they put like cameras in people's rooms, and they say they have these alien abduction
Okay.
experiences, but they don't go anywhere. So
Oh,
what
that's
they're doing is they're
interesting.
dreaming.
Yeah.
I mean, which is
the
normal.
mind is amazing and
Sure.
and it's so powerful, and we know so little still.
Yeah. So
about its-
also like all these. I mean, it's kind of duh because they all happen while you're sleeping.
Yeah.
Like 90
And you're
plus
right.
percent.
They tend to be medical.
Yeah. It's very
revolve
medical in
around.
nature, right? You're being examined. And then there's also, going back to childbirth, there's also a lot of people that have these experiences that they are being told that either they're taking their baby away from them or they're studying their baby
Okay.
or that they had a baby inside of them that they didn't know
Right.
about and that the aliens have put it there and they're taking it
That's
out.
right. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it even goes back to the virgin birth, right? I mean,
Yeah,
it's all very weird. But this memory that people have from childhood is most likely, probably a pretty intense,
Yeah, that's
powerful
interesting.
memory that's always there.
Yeah, and
Your
affecting.
first memory.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
some people can tap into it, and some people can't.
Yeah,
clearly.
sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mainline historical books about
It's mainstream.
SS castles
Mainstream.
where they go, the aliens want blood, so they'd kill like 20 kids and everything. So the aliens would like come in.
What?
They
Aliens are
take
eating blood?
They brings them in like sharks. And then they would
Blood
like give them
does?
technology. They go, this is how it works. You build the atomic weapons this way. You build, and they would like show them bombers and like the aliens are like telepathic. I don't even believe this. This is what the Nazis believe. And the aliens would mind meld and give them the technology. They're bad aliens.
So
Are you surprised the Nazis were influenced by demons?
No, if demons are real, I would definitely think they'd be on the side of the Nazis.
Yeah.
But Joe, what I'm telling you is
think aliens
there'll
are
be
demons?
no media is going to attack this. I'm giving
I
you.
want to know where I can read it. Where can I read those statements that they were in contact with the aliens?
Well, obviously your podcast
Look
is
up
giant. I get a huge
Nazi Vril Society, VRIL
Yes. If you let
Society.
me put
He
a
had a
report-
group of chicks,
I tell you what,
witches,
aliens? That's
that were like
aliens?
right up there with them, like doing
And I don't have to come over
rituals.
for 3 hours. If I can fly here with a report the day
Okay.
before, I'll send it all to you with mainline books. I'll mail the books with tabs in them.
Okay.
And I'll mail documents.
Okay, cool. Yeah, listen. I think that they absolutely were obsessed with the occult. That's been pretty well documented.
They made flying
yeah,
saucers.
and I think
Hey, did
got
you
me,
talk
Steven
about that?
Spielberg.
Did you talk about that alien craft that came into our
What happened? What are you talking
into our
about?
galaxy?
It did.
The one with the Hawaiian name.
Oh, so it's over.
You didn't hear about that one?
The one that looks like a joint.
Yeah, it looks or a big piece of poo.
Yeah, that's just a rock.
The big
right?
duty copter.
It's just a weird rock. I think.
No, they said that some like legit people said that it changed speed and went in different directions. and
legit people.
Legit people.
Oh.
Scientists
Oh, them guys.
said that it was. It could be something.
Could be.
What does Neil deGrasse say about it?
He's not talking right now.
Yeah, he's in a little bit of a kerfuffle.
Kerfuffle. What's this, Jamie? This thing right here. Harvard scientists say aliens
of
may
miles
explain
away.
bizarre interstellar object. Yeah, I saw that, and then I saw someone refuting that they
Harvard
would.
scientists. Harvard.
Nobody wants to believe more than me, bro.
Come on, Joe. It's real.
Well, if I was going to mask my spaceship to fly through the galaxy, I would definitely make it look like a big rock.
yeah, like a big
Yeah.
asteroid
Right. Why wouldn't you?
driving through space.
Maybe if they were like, look, if we just make this thing drive by them and don't change speeds, they'll have no idea. Just think we're an
Right.
asteroid, and they'll be psyched that we missed them. Like, yeah, good call.
And the
But
guy's
then
like,
someone
left turn!
Someone just hits the gas. I'm tired. I don't want to. It's fucking taking too long.
What'd
Like,
you
he
do,
just
Dave?
decides,
What?
Dude, you got it. The fucking cops are behind us, Dave. Shit.
God damn it, Dave. You're not supposed to just take
I
off.
told you. 65, you fuck. Let's start throwing this weed out the window.
Why would it be so hard to believe? A space rock traveling through space.
That would be the move, right? I mean, if they're so advanced that they can travel through galaxies, they can make the shit look like anything they want it to.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't you doll it up? Sounds good, doesn't it? God, I want to believe. So hard.
Well, I hope you do, because there's gonna be a lot of stuff.
Well, I want to know what you've seen though. So you've seen this piece of metal. What else have you seen?
I've seen many documents on the studies of these things, and I've seen a lot of the science associated with what the technology is and what it does. Like, I could show you, if I fold up pieces of paper and stuff, what's going on with it. But basically, these craft, they travel in a straight line, but they're folding space-time.
Like in Event Horizon, where they explain it by folding a piece of paper and punching a pencil through it. Did you ever see that movie?
Yeah, it's kind of
Great
like
fucking
that.
movie.
But it's more like, here, I can draw it for you here. Not that this is it's kind of like when you have 2 points, we're used to traveling in a direction like that.
Mm-hmm.
And so when we look up, we see a plane that goes straight.
Right.
But these UFOs fold space-time like this. And so it looks like, to them, they're going in a straight line. So if you're in the ship, you see that.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're on the ground, you see that.
Oh, okay.
That's why you see them blink off and on. A lot of those videos, they're on, it looks like they're jumping. It's just because of this.
So
they're
they
folding
have
space-time.
some way of interfacing with space itself that's very different than our idea of traveling in a linear way from point A to point B.
Space, the fabric, they call it the fabric of space-time because it's like a fabric. It's malleable.
Now, let me ask you this. How often into a conversation do people look at you and think you are fucking crazy when you start talking about this? And how long
all
does
the time, yeah.
All the time, right? But do you ever get to the point where you're like, I don't want to talk about this?
No, because I always tell people, you don't know what I know. And there's a lot.
No. I mean, like, do you ever get to the point where you're like, I can't do this anymore? Like,
No.
people think I'm fucking crazy.
No, because I'm involved on the most important shit I've ever been in my life.
So you think this is like the most important thing that you've ever done in your life?
Oh, fuck yeah. Like, I have meetings with senators coming up. Like,
Do you?
Yeah, oh, fuck yeah. I
What
do.
senators?
I can't tell you.
Damn, it's all this I can't tell you stuff.
I know, because
So
this is some fucking tricky shit.
When is all this going to come out? Like, it seems like this is like eminent rather disclosure type shit.
Watch
right?
what my company does. That's what I'll say.
What
That's
a trip.
awesome.
Yeah. I love when someone is like that.
Yeah.
Like your friend that hasn't talked for 22 years. I love shit like that.
Yeah, you don't hear about that.
No.
Or someone that'll stop being in Van Halen to go fuck with swords. You know?
Or
It's like,
Tom.
yeah,
who
to go
leaves
fuck with
Blink
aliens.
and-
Yeah.
Yeah, goes fucks with aliens.
Yeah.
Do you think they're really bringing him to the Pentagon and shit like that?
I don't know.
Because he said they like.
I have no clue. And I had watched a little bit of your podcast where you were like, well,
You sent me a text message.
well,
You're like,
why are they
huh?
picking you? And I'm like, but I feel like he's made himself readily available
Yeah.
to do that shit,
Right.
I don't know. I sit and scratch my head and go, I don't know.
I don't know either.
I just fucking,
Yeah.
he's such a talented dude too, man. He's like such a good songwriter.
Yeah, he certainly is. He's certainly a very talented guy. It's just so interesting that that's his main point of focus.
Yeah.
I would think that if aliens were real, Trump would have told us. I really do believe that.
Yeah.
That guy he's such a fucking loose cannon. He became the president. Like, maybe they hid it from him.
Or as fucking chaotic as shit is right now, it
Yeah.
would I don't know, something would slip,
I would think that if they told him, if they brought him, there's two things I would want to know. Who killed JFK? Those are two things I'd want to know if I became the president. And are aliens real? What do you got, motherfucker?
Yeah.
What do you got? I go to the top generals. I bet, look, I'm going to defer to you guys. I'm not a military expert, okay? And I don't want war, but I want you guys to have support. I got full respect. Tell me about the aliens. What do you got? What's this? Trump orders establishment of Space Force.
he did that.
That's right, the Space Force.
Yeah.
But that's because
Where?
that's actually a military strategy because they're concerned that as technology improves, Russians are going to be in space and we're going to be in space.
Or
fight off the aliens.
Yeah.
Right. Like Will Smith type shit. Yeah, look at him. Yeah, Mike Pence is behind him going, Jesus is going to save us. Yeah, I don't know, man, but if I became president, I never will, but if I did, those are the two things that I'd want to know. Who killed JFK and where are the fucking aliens? Like, I got home from the Comedy Store at like 2, and then I watched some goofy, I've been on this UFO documentary kick.
Watching UFO documentaries?
Yeah, I told you it was David. I started talking about it.
Yeah,
but,
we were talking about that.
yeah.
What were you? Did you have something specific that you saw recently?
Yeah,
the documentary.
2 of them. One of them is Area 51, Bob Lazar and Area 51 and flying saucers. It's a documentary on this guy who claimed that he worked on these alien ships in Area 51 in the 1980s.
That gave me chills.
As time's gone on, more of the things that he said have proven to actually be true.
Like what?
Including an element that he talked about, element 115, I think it was called.
Like an organism from outer space?
No, an element, like a man-created element, like there's carbon.
Right.
There's an element that they created that he talked about way before it was ever publicized. And he talked about this thing, and then it turned out to be true. He talked about these, there's these hand monitors that you would put your hand on this thing, and these lines, these metal lines would detect the distances in the bones of your fingers, the exact distances, and everyone is different. It's like a signature thing.
Mm-hmm.
And that they could find out if it was you or not you that was trying to go through. So the way they would scan people, the bioscan, would literally measure the bones in their fingers. And people said that was horseshit.
Wild.
He talked about this in the 1980s. People said it was horseshit, but then later on turned out, no, they did have that in Los Alamos. They did have that in Area 51, and that this technology was very, very
advanced.
Very, not just very advanced, but very not. It was not well known at all. Like very few people did. And this guy who was creator of this documentary, it was very difficult for them to get photos of this hand scanner. But this hand scanner did exist and existed exactly as this guy described it.
In the 80s, I mean, that's super progressive for that time.
There's also
even for now.
people that did approve his top secret clearance to get to this place. They know that he actually worked there. There's people that worked in the same Los Alamos lab with him. They tried to say he never worked there, but his name's on the manifest. It's very strange. It's like they've tried to erase parts of this guy's past because he filmed a bunch of their crafts as they were flying around. Like he knew what days. This is the thing. That thing right there, you put your hand on that, and it actually measures the distance of the size and length of your bones.
That looks like something that's inside of an escape room in L.A.
It does. It's hilarious. It's so true. But
Doesn't it?
I went into this documentary skeptical.
As you should.
Yeah, but I'm so done with all those things. But listen to this guy talk for a while. After a while, I was like, what if he's telling the truth? Like, what if he is actually telling the truth? Because if he's actually telling the truth, there is some part of the government that had access, at least in the 1980s, to alien technology.
You believe in UFOs?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my God. Really?
Yeah.
See, I believe there's other life forms out there,
Yeah,
but
that's what
I don't think they're coming here.
They might. Here's the thing. They might. Well, why not think it? But just because here's one thing I do believe. Most people are full of shit when it comes to like most of their stories. Like it's hard to find a person that could just tell you what happened based on what they really remember. People want to jazz things up and they want to add salt and pepper.
Yeah.
They
had
just
sex with me, did this, did that.
They don't necessarily tell you the truth. They tell you what they think is going to be an engaging story that kind of represents the truth, maybe. Especially when it's a weird thing like you saw something in the sky. What did you really see? How long did you look at it for? How many seconds was it?
Well, I mean, here's the problem I have with UFOs. I believe there are UFOs, but I don't think they're coming here.
Why would you say that?
Because that means first of all, if they're coming here, that means their technology is way more advanced than ours.
Right.
So why would they care if people saw them? They would show up, if I was an alien and I was that far ahead of us, I would land that bitch right in the middle of Times Square and be like, what? We are here.
But why would you do that?
But why wouldn't I?
Well,
why am I
for a couple
hiding
reasons.
in fields where nobody can see us?
Are you aware of how we treat uncontacted tribes?
Yes, to
Yeah,
a point. But what I'm saying is, if you're that far advanced, they know. If they're coming here, they know They're way smarter than us,
Right.
because they've traveled here,
Right.
and we don't even know from far distances we can't even imagine, and they're here. They don't have to hide. It's
But
just
do you
like
think they do it because they have to hide? Or do you think maybe they do it because we can't handle it? Because we can handle it.
why would they care if we could handle it or not?
Because here's the problem. Whenever any civilization has ever encountered a civilization far superior to them, the results have always been catastrophic every single time. Every time Europeans have invaded North America, every time the Spanish visited the Mexicans, every time that this has happened, it's been a disaster. And this is human beings. If there was something that came down here from another planet and was so unbelievably sophisticated that it could travel through vast distances in space and had insurmountable, impossible technology, that we would look to it for all of our answers. It would become our new daddy. It would completely disrupt all of our governments. It would disrupt all of our religions. It would disrupt every single belief system we have. And people would fall apart. They wouldn't know what to do. Psychologically, it would be devastating. Look, I'm not a doctor. I'm not a psychologist, but I know most people would not be able to handle it.
I understand that, but why would they care?
Because
that's my whole point.
Because
why would they care about
because
us?
it would be affecting our culture.
But they wouldn't care.
But why wouldn't they care?
But why would they care?
We care about animals, bro. There's a reason why we
Yeah.
have wildlife protection agencies. We have that because we care about animals. And animals don't even know we're a thing. Okay, if you're a deer living in the forest and you're 2 years old, you might not have ever even seen a person. You don't even know what the fuck we are. But we're trying to keep those deer alive. We spend billions of dollars every year protecting them. We do that because we care about wildlife. If we cared about a rare monkey that we found in Indonesia in the forest, some strange monkey, we would do whatever we could to make sure that that monkey's populations thrived. If there was a way to help them, I mean, that's one of the reasons why zoos exist. They take rare animals, they try to breed them in captivity,
But we're also sharing the same Earth.
well, then maybe they look at the universe that way, and maybe they look at nuclear civilizations like our civilization. I mean, our civilization's a very dangerous one because we're a bunch of semi-hairless monkeys with nuclear weapons. I mean, we're fucking nuts, bro.
Oh, yeah.
And we're obsessed with sex. We jack off to our phones. We're taking pills to keep our dick hard. We're all on speed. I mean,
We all have ADD.
I mean, these are and we lie. We lie about shit. We lie about things that people did to us. We pretend people did worse things. We pretend that we didn't do things to people. We lie about stealing. We lie about money. We lie about all kinds of things. I mean, people are
So you're thinking
crazy.
aliens are thinking about all that before they come down.
Of course they would. When you discuss the cosmos, maybe the single most intriguing possibility to us as human beings is what other intelligent life, if any, is out there. And how interesting is that to you? Because you spend so much time studying the fundamental particles of the universe itself. How interested are you in the possibility of other intelligent life forms? Or have you just like put that out into it's just so ridiculously unlikely or so far away from us that we're probably never going to make contact?
Well, you see, it's not so. There's this SETI program where they're looking at to see whether they can see signals from distant civilizations. The problem there, from my perspective, is that although they might be out there, they've got to have had a real head start on us before you would see them. I'm guessing they might have done so, but then I don't know. You see, actually, Vahir Gurzajan, who's my Armenian colleague, and who looked also for these ring-shaped things, and looked at them in a different way from the Polish people. But we seem to have seen something there. But we wrote a paper in which we speculated on beings from the previous eon communicating with us. And the advantage there is that you're looking at the really advanced civilizations,
Really
right at the
advanced
very end, you
civilization
see.
from billions of years ago, that their universe disappeared and then had to come back to a Big Bang state
the
again.
signals could come through, yes.
And somehow or another, those signals remain.
It's conceivable. I agree
Whoa.
it's pretty far-fetched, but, you know, who knows what...
So
advances-
eons, how many billions of years are you talking about? Like the Big Bang was 14 billion?
Yes. But you see, that's way at the beginning, in a sense, or it's three-quarters of the way through in another sense. It depends how you draw the pictures.
Right.
In the sense of interestingness, or in the conformal picture, We are already 3/4 of the way through.
So 14 billion to now. So we have
But
how
you
many
can't
billion
count
left?
it as years, you see. The
Right.
trouble is it's a cheat.
It's a cheat.
The year count is as much as you like. It depends on something else. The mass has to fade out, and how you measure time becomes problematic.
Mm-hmm.
And it's either infinity, you see, which isn't much use, or you might have a different definitions of time, which depend on what particle you're using as your clocks and things like that.
So are you essentially saying that it's entirely possible that we are the furthest in terms of our technological achievement and our understanding of the universe itself? It's possible that we're at the front of the line, that there might be some other intelligent life forms in the universe, but they might be behind us.
Well, there would have been. I mean, I'm not saying they got through, you see. Well,
Right.
maybe they have techniques for getting through, but that's a bit hard to imagine. But maybe information from them could get through, and maybe
You mean from the previous eon?
Yes.
Oh, they might have got through, like somehow or another survived.
Yes, but it would have to be in the form of photons or something. Yeah, no, you could. It's not. I'm talking about ridiculous speculation.
Sure,
now.
but encoding information
Yes.
into photons?
Yes.
Wow.
It's conceivable.
Sure.
Now, I don't want to say that I see it happening or anything, but it's not out of the question that they could develop some technology which would get information, which might be them in some sense, across in the form of photons.
But you're not optimistic about current intelligent life somewhere in the universe?
Not too optimistic, just because, well, maybe it took us a long time to get going because the dinosaurs were there for a while and somebody might have got in there earlier in their different planet and they could have got there quite ahead of us. It's conceivable. I'm not going to rule it out. I'm just not terribly optimistic about it. No, I think it's worth doing. It's worth looking.
Yes, but it's not something that you're really curious about.
I'm expecting. It's not so much. I'd be curious certainly, but I'm not expecting it, I guess.
But now I'm more the thing I've become obsessed with lately is the skepticism about UFOs.
Yeah, that's why I wanted to talk to you about this, because you told me that you've become obsessed with UFOs recently.
Oh yeah, completely. And it's
Believer?
Yeah, totally.
Really?
Yeah, I totally believe the UFO phenomenon is real. I don't know what it is, but it has to be real.
Something's happening.
Why is that?
Because there's just way too much evidence that it is real.
What evidence?
Radar evidence that the F-16 locked on a UFO,
Mm-hmm.
that footage. And also just, I know that a friend of ours, I don't know if she wants to say it, but her father was an air traffic controller.
Mm-hmm.
And he told her, they said, yeah, every air traffic controller has seen something.
Yeah.
And I had another friend whose father was a commercial pilot. And she said, yeah, my dad said every single pilot has seen something. And they've all been told not to say anything about it.
We have a couple of friends that say they were abducted.
Yeah.
Yeah, the abducted one is a little easier to wrap your head around, because when you're sleeping, your brain is producing all sorts of endogenous psychedelic chemicals.
Yeah.
Almost all of these experiences happen when you're sleeping. Almost all these experiences when these people are abducted, they're taken from their beds, which is when they're dreaming.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like there's some real clear, easy steps to follow if you want to follow Occam's razor and not get crazy with it.
But it knocks those out, but it doesn't knock out like Barney and Betty Hill and all the people that are abducted while fully conscious and that remember it without hypnotherapy. I'm not sure about the abduction phenomenon, but
I don't know Barney and Betty Hill. I know the story, but I don't know them.
Yeah.
So I would have to know them, because there's a lot of people that I've I did a show for Sci-Fi called Joe Rogan Questions Everything.
Yeah, I watched that show.
That cured me. That show cured me of a lot of my nonsense with conspiracies.
Well, we used to talk about that stuff all the time.
Yeah, all the time.
Yeah,
but I needed to actually study it. So for 6 months, that's basically all I did. I interviewed people, and Bigfoot believers, UFO believers, and the one thing that they have in common is they all seem to be kind of lost and dependent upon this thing being real.
Yeah.
Right.
Instead of being objective. There's only one lady that I interviewed that saw Bigfoot that really seemed to be telling the truth. But I think she saw a bear. I think bears walk on 2 feet all the time. They do it all the time. There's video footage. You can find it all the time. And she was in the Pacific Northwest, which is incredibly dense woods. You see something, you glimpse it. Look, I was hunting once in Canada, in Alberta, and I thought I saw a wolf for like 2 seconds. It was a squirrel. Okay? Understand this.
A very big
Is that
squirrel?
what is that? Wolf? No, it's a squirrel.
Yeah.
No, I just saw fur.
Right.
I saw
Yeah.
fur, and I was because it's really
But you're
dense
convinced.
woods. Because I was looking for fucking wolves. Because I was like, because I know we did see one wolf. It crossed the road. It was either a wolf or a coyote. It was hard to tell because it was at dusk. It was very dark out. But when you're looking for something, you think everything is that thing you're looking for.
Yeah.
So like for a second,
Expectations are huge.
I thought that fucking squirrel was a wolf.
That's funny.
Yeah. Well, expectation and perception are very linked.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, there's also that they found that 50% of everything you see is a product of memory.
Yes.
That when you observe something, they've done fMRIs, and that most of the activity in the brain is in the memory centers, not in the visual centers.
Interesting.
Only about 50% of the activity is in the visual centers of the
You
brain.
know, the UFO.
That's crazy.
The UFO
Yeah.
thing is very. When I was a kid, I went and saw Carl Sagan speak at U of T at the University of Toronto, and I was like, 14. But he did an equation on the board of the possibility of alien life other than us in the universe. And it came to the smallest. I mean, he spent the whole time writing on this chalkboard. It was fascinating. But he actually came up with a number at the end. And it was such a small. He says there is something out there, but they are so far away that that unless they can go faster than the speed of light, which he said was impossible at the time. This is the 70s.
Yeah.
There's no way we've seen them. That's what he said. So if some other beings have conquered the speed of light thing, then maybe we could see them.
Yeah. But that's a thing with the problem with this skepticism in general is like that it, like the skeptics of the 19th century were the ones who said germs don't exist.
Right, because we can't see them.
And people who said germs did exist were ridiculed and laughed out of the trade. Right? And
I agree with you completely. Just because you can't see it or it isn't happening doesn't mean it can't happen.
And even since Sagan's day, there had been no exoplanets discovered then.
Right.
We now know that there are literally trillions and trillions of Earth-like planets.
Yeah, well, they just speculated as to the existence of them outside of our solar system before. The real problem is that if there's a leap, a technological leap that opens the doors to massive innovation.
Yeah.
That once this happens, and then all this stuff sort of exponentially expands in terms of technological possibilities, all you would need is a few hundred years, and you have an unrecognizable set of technology.
Yeah, sure.
I mean,
well, you were talking about CERN. I mean, the whole antimatter idea that they're still trying to figure out.
Yeah,
that's an insane source of energy that we have never even experienced.
Yeah,
with a grain of sand that can run a city. I mean, it's that big.
Yeah,
And then there's also the theory. There's a recent one that space-time itself doesn't exist. So the speed of light barrier becomes moot because there's, I guess it's the quantum holographic theory of the universe.
Yeah, is that Michael Talbot's book?
I can't remember.
Holographic Universe. Is that who wrote that?
Yeah, I think so. But the idea that the universe is basically just a geometry that when you look at it from a certain angle seems three-dimensional.
Right, and it folds into itself, so you could. And it's travel through. That's the wormhole thing.
Well,
right?
it's not even that. It's the idea that space-time is an illusion, and that it doesn't really exist, and that's why entanglement is possible. The idea that spooky action at a distance.
Yes.
That
quantum theory.
Entanglement. Yeah. But the reason that these atoms on opposite ends of the universe can affect each other instantaneously
at the same moment
is because they're not really at opposite ends of the universe. They're really right next to each other. It just seems like they're at opposite ends of the universe.
Because our ability to perceive is basically based on what we have to do to stay alive on this planet. So our meager little chimp brains are trying to quantify all of these things that are around us all the time. So we put them into this sort of three-dimensional box of movement and distance and
that the entire universe could be a compact thing that projects itself like a hologram onto a screen.
I love these kind of conversations because I'm clearly too stupid to really understand what
And
we're saying.
I don't understand. I don't understand anything I just said.
And I don't understand you two, so how stupid does that make me?
Well, we don't understand each other. So
This is perfect.
We're all the same. Yeah.
But that's why, like, I think it would be interesting to do like a documentary or something about ufology, because one thing is the assumption that they're extraterrestrial is an assumption. But the thing that intrigues me is the power of ridicule to silence even the most intelligent people in our community from examining something. Like the ridicule kept doctors from accepting germs.
Sure.
Because they didn't want to be ridiculed by their peers.
Mm-hmm.
And even now, you've got people that will, like Michael Shermer, will cling to the most absurd explanations for phenomena like the F-16 radar footage.
What was Michael Shermer's
I can't
take
even remember
on
it, but it was pretty. It really went to great lengths that entailed having to basically diminish any respect you had for any of the people who reported on the events.
Mm.
It had to go into character assassination in order to eliminate it.
Yeah,
Well, that's the best way to kill an idea.
He's a professional skeptic, and I like Michael a lot, and he's been on the podcast many times. But I actually had him debate Randall Carlson and Graham Hancock about these ancient civilizations, and it wasn't very good for him. Like there were some clunky moments
because skeptics are believers.
Well, the problem is they're believing.
They believe in skepticism.
The problem is being a skeptic itself. It's a stupid way to look at the world.
It's a choice. You're actually sure about something.
I mean, you should be objective.
Right.
Don't be skeptical.
Right.
Being skeptical is like, I don't know. But
I know for sure that that's not true.
But it serves a massive purpose for people that really don't understand things, and he can explain it to you with actual science. As long as the actual science is being used, and it's not character assassination, it's not mockery, it's not. There's certain people that are just debunkers. They can call themselves skeptics, but they're not looking at things like, oh, maybe that is effective, maybe that is healthy, maybe that is interesting. No, they don't look at it that way. No. They're looking at it, they're trying to pick it apart. And that's fine if you can pick it apart. But if you cannot, you have to be objective about the fact that, oh, well, this is a very interesting phenomenon, and this is what we know about science, and this is what we know about this thing. And right now we have a weird conundrum.
Did Chariots of the Gods man? Did he?
Eric von Daniken.
Was he? Was he a believer?
100%. He's all
Still
in.
is.
Still in.
Still
all
is.
in. I asked him. The first thing I asked him, I said, "What is
Can
the?"
I pause?
Yeah.
I desperately have to go pee.
No, go. The first thing I asked him was, "What is the most compelling piece of evidence?" And he pointed to this Mayan stone plaque that's in Palenque. I don't know if you've ever seen it. Is
it in the book?
Yeah, it's a god, one of their former kings that is lying on his back, and he looks like he's moving some. Jamie, see if you could find that thing. It's this really cool carving that they found that looks like there's a guy who is in a seat, and it looks like there's fire behind his back, and you could say say that he's manipulating controls on a ship, and he's shooting a rocket into the heaven. I would like to see what the mainstream version of that is, because also it could just be art.
Imagination.
It could be that they knew about certain things being propelled by fire. There it is. Yeah, that's it. So if you see this, I mean, that's a big ass stretch to say that guy's in a spaceship. I don't know what the fuck that is. He's sitting down.
Looks like an altar, kind of, to me.
It could, but it does look like he's looking through an eyepiece, right?
That's true.
But what does that mean? Is it a telescope?
Maybe
he's just got a telescope.
Maybe it's just an astronomer.
Yeah, it is possible. I don't think they had telescopes.
No.
I don't think a telescope was even invented till.
No, did they even have glass at that point?
Oh, I don't know. Well, I don't know if the Mayans did.
Wow.
But that was his number one piece of evidence. I was like, that's kind of silly.
I mean, when we were kids in the 70s, Bigfoot, and Chariots of the Gods and everything was so new.
Hey, look at this image. Look at the bottom of it. Even the part where the flame's supposed to be coming out from below him.
Which flame?
Yeah.
Where's the flame?
I guess the flame is the shit at the very, very bottom. But I mean, I'm not even sure I buy that. If you were going to draw fire, you'd do a really shitty job if that's your fire.
That doesn't really look like fire to me. That looks like
could be anything.
an ornate seat.
Right.
something.
Right. If that's fire, like what is all the stuff around them? What's all that stuff? Is that looks kind of mechanical though, right? It looks like there's bolts.
It does.
Did they have a fire god? Maybe they drew the fire god.
Is that it looks like a monkey kind of face.
with titties. Monkey's got some titties.
Oh, now I get it.
Right?
Yeah.
And then the monkey's, is that his teeth?
It's the first Hooters.
They look like arms, actually.
Right.
Yeah.
It does. It could be arms. But that's the point, is it's so open to interpretation. There's so much that you could see if you're looking to see. But what I do see is this guy who's...
He's reclining in an odd way.
He's chilling,
for sure.
and it looks like he's looking through something.
What's that thing hanging across him? Do you see that thing across his arm?
Yeah, I don't know what the fuck that is. But here's the thing. I don't think anybody knows what the fuck that is. But so for him to say that this was the number one most compelling evidence.
I mean, were people getting high at this point?
Oh, yeah.
So, I mean, that could be just some guy got high and
LSD.
carved something.
Yeah, they were taking different kinds of plants that had lysergic acid in them. So what is this obsessing, what is your more recent obsession about UFOs? What's the origin of this?
Part of it is just the fact that the evidence, just the evidence itself, says you have to take this seriously, and yet no one does, or very, very few people do. I mean, even like again, that F-16 footage, that even Neil deGrasse Tyson, who is a great skeptic, said on one of the late night talk shows, he said, well, if you really want to look at the possibility of some non-human intelligence, that F-16 stuff is pretty compelling.
What is the F-16 stuff?
That's the stuff that To the Stars Academy put out. It was the CIA.
Oh, yeah, Tom DeLonge?
Yeah.
He's crazy.
I've never
had
met
him on the podcast.
Is he?
Oh, yeah. Very nice guy.
Yeah. What do you
see in the footage?
He's a very nice guy and a brilliant musician.
Yeah.
And he's a loon.
Yeah, I've never
he's
met
a
him.
fucking full-on believer. I mean, he left Blink 182 to go do this To the Stars Academy shit. He's the biggest goddamn rock band on the planet. Okay, here's something interesting about this. And this was pointed out like by a video filmed by a fighter jet shows an unknown object near San Diego. Video from 2004 was released by the U.S. Department of Defense.
Wow, the way it moves.
There's something about the way it moves is really weird, huh?
It could be a jet, though. Jets can move that way.
One of the pilots told the media the object was not from this world.
Yeah. And here's the thing. It's like the skeptics, in order to dismiss it, they have to go... Well, they have to make arguments like that jet fighters are not better observers than anyone else.
Pull up Mick Ward's take on that. Mick Ward, the guy who he runs what is it? Metabunk. He runs a debunking site, and he's another one of those guys that is all in with the conventional explanation. Like he goes way out of his way to not look at anything that could be at
which
least
is the opposite of Occam's
conspiratorial.
razor.
Yes.
Occam's razor says, that if you have to go to great lengths to dismiss something,
right,
that's not following Occam's razor.
Right.
Occam's razor says if the jet pilot says he saw this, he saw it.
I think he had an interesting take on it, though. And one of the things was there's a time during the video where the pilot shifted from 1x to 2x, which makes the image move more because you have magnification. Like, if you ever use magnifying glasses or binos, like if you use 15x binos, it's very difficult to hold on a subject.
Steady,
But 6 you can kind of look at things in the distance.
Yeah, but that's if you don't have about $3 million worth of stabilization equipment on your jet locked onto this object.
Right.
Which is why that stays in lock.
He had an explanation, though, that was kind of interesting.
And when it breaks free of the lock,
how does it take off?
Unbelievable.
Does it just take off or something like that?
It just, at one point, the object just breaks free of the lock. And that's almost impossible.
I have a question.
It's impossible for anything that man has built to do.
With the quality of cameras today, why is this footage so shitty?
This is infrared footage.
Infrared footage.
Yeah.
Infrared.
Yeah, I mean, you need this when you're shooting at things in the sky. You can't rely on
blurry
visualizations.
blob.
You're looking at heat. You're looking at heat signals.
Because visually, it's so far, it would be essentially
Escaping
invisible.
the rabbit hole, how to debunk conspiracy theories using fact, logic, and
That's
respect.
interesting.
So what is he saying? The program, make that a little larger for my stupid eyes. It said, for all, make sure you are talking about the right video. There's two that are confused. Here we're talking about the gimbal video, which is not from the Nimitz incident, which is discussed here. So scroll down a little bit. The gimbal video is okay. Yeah, that's the one we're looking at. It's an unknown date and location from unknown pilots. Nope. The TikTok one is from San
are
Diego.
known pilots.
Yeah, that's 2004. Okay, that's David Ferver. The media's discussed these videos. Tom DeLonge's To the Stars. The link contains the frames. What's he saying? Keep going. The black shape around the object, some kind of infrared flare glare. We know the shape of a very bright infrared source, like the engine of a plane, can be much bigger than the object itself, as explained here. Okay, so there's like a flare.
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't explain the movement.
Yeah, it
No,
doesn't
it doesn't explain the movement. It doesn't explain, again, Occam's razor is, okay, so this guy debunking it.
This guy's saying it's a
Look at it.
jet.
It looks nothing like it.
The movement's
Well, even
similar.
if it is a jet's not capable of breaking free from the lock, right?
Yeah.
If they lock onto it.
And if you look at that, you can see the jet.
Yeah.
His own example debunks his debunking.
Right. Need not be moving.
Yeah.
The video need not be moving.
And it's also the assumption that this guy doing probably a few hours research has come up with something that is more credible than a trained fighter pilot who is there and visually seeing it.
What do you think it is?
And tracking it.
If you had a guess.
I don't know.
Let's get crazy.
Oh, I think it is.
From another planet.
It is an intelligent craft. It is a craft being piloted intelligently.
Why aren't they talking to us?
We're fucking apes.
Why would you? Yeah, it's
just
like
don't
Don't
know.
talk to us.
if
We're
you're-
assholes.
When you look at it, when you look
Polluting
at
the air.
No, I forgot. You're right.
Leaving fucking plastic straws everywhere.
That's right.
Yeah.
Oh, we cured it. No
That's
more
right.
plastic straws.
when you're a kid looking at an ant colony, you didn't go, "Listen to me, ants."
Yes.
You just looked at them. You know, there was
No, yeah, I
and they say,
agree.
why don't they go to the White House? So, why would you, when you look at an ant colony, go, "I must speak to the queen"?
Right.
You know.
Yes.
No.
I've always said
you
that.
just look at
Yeah.
ants.
Yeah, that's what the most ridiculous thing about like the old movies. Like the old movies that would land on the White House lawn.
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
like right?
Yeah.
Like what is
Day the Earth Stood Still.
That's it. Yeah. Baratu Niktu,
Yeah.
whatever that thing was. Yeah.
Klaatu.
Barata
Klaatu,
Niktu.
Barata,
yeah.
Niktu.
Yeah, that's the Day the Earth Stood Still was like, what is that, 1940 or something?
50s,
54,
55.
something.
Fucking great movie.
Great
I watched it really recently.
Because it's a
Remember
Christ
they-
parable. I love
remember
Christ
they-
parables.
A little bit, right?
Christ stories
Yeah.
are great.
He was a Christ parable.
Yeah, well, his name was
right.
John Carpenter.
Oh, that's
Oh,
right.
was that?
JC.
That's right.
Christ was a carpenter.
What do they
That's
do? Don't they
right.
shoot that object out of his hand the first second he pulls it out? Do you remember he has that thing that's going to
Yes.
cure cancer?
Yeah, they shoot him.
And they shoot it out of his hand immediately.
Yeah, and then at the end of the movie, he is killed and resurrected.
That's right.
Right.
Yeah, they
He's-
shoot him and he comes
he's
back
taken
to
by
life.
the robot takes
Yeah.
him to
Yeah, the robot.
So-
Yeah,
Love
what
that
a goofy robot.
Yeah,
very tall.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
and like he looked like you would want a robot to look in 1950.
Yes. Yeah.
all
Smooth.
metal and shit, smooth. yeah.
Chrome.
Yeah, those were the days. We thought that they would communicate. Like, wasn't there a whole rash of them that were seen over Washington D.C.?
Yeah, there was dozens.
Yeah,
Dozens of UFOs tracked and admitted by the government that they were tracking them and watching them. But they essentially, and then at the end, their explanation was nothing particularly important.
You know, we have a mutual friend who claims, I won't say her name, but she claims
No,
she
and
was...
I feel bad because I wrote her off as a lunatic when I first heard it.
Yeah, well, she was claimed to be abducted.
Yeah.
And then I was doing a show with her years ago, and she's just telling us the story. We're all like, that's pretty funny. And she says, and then they took a scoop out of my back. And I'm like, a scoop? They took a scoop out of your back? And she showed on her back shoulder, there was a hexagonal diamond-shaped scoop out of her back. A divot.
It was hexagonal.
Yeah, that was...
Clearly?
Clearly. And no scar tissue.
Maybe she's a crazy bitch. and
No
she's
scar
just,
tissue,
I
man.
know how to make this story stick.
Yeah.
Give myself
Yeah.
a little punch.
But
a whole punch back there.
I worked at a bookstore at the time, years ago, and I went into the alien section. It was the world's biggest bookstore in Toronto. That was the name of it. And of course, I went to the alien section and just looked all this crap up immediately, and there are other people
Yeah.
with the scoop.
Well, there's a lot of other people
Yeah.
with
You
the
know.
abduction stories, and some of them have like little pieces of something in their body. I remember you talking to me about this many, many years ago. I was like, oh, Dave's interested.
Yeah.
It was like implants. You were talking about people that have alien implants in their body.
Yeah, and that's the thing. To me, it's just, I guess the thing that I'm kind of obsessed with now is just because we're comedians.
Yes.
And the power of ridicule to silence debate. is unbelievably potent.
Sure.
And we're part of that. We're part of the machinery that was used very, very consciously by the government to silence any inquiry. You know, it was like, you know, feeding the story the right way to late night talk show hosts. Made it so that nobody would talk about it.
So do you think that the government consciously fed those ideas to like Johnny Carson and those folks?
Yeah, I think there's documentation of a pro, you know, of that they, you know, to make the UFO phenomena ridiculous.
Do you think they did that to avoid mass hysteria? Like if you're the government and you know there's nothing out there, but you see these people freaking out, you go, okay, look, we've used all of our military might, all of our scientific power, and we don't see shit. I'm not buying this, but these people are freaking out. This has the real potential to get out of hand and go sideways on us. Let's just start making fun of this.
Yeah, I don't know. 'Cause, I think it's more likely that there's something there that they feel powerless to control.
Do you think Kennedy was taken down into the basement of whatever and shown the alien sitting there?
This is what I say about aliens in regards to Trump. If there's anybody that would fucking tell us it's
him.
Trump.
He tweeted immediately.
He would tweet it. He would tweet it
Looking
in
at an
all
alien.
caps. UFOs are real, but CNN is fake.
Yeah.
I mean, it's still the failing New York Times fails to find UFOs because
I'm
they're
looking
real.
at one right
That's
now.
why.
I'm at Area 51.
If the government does have the evidence, they are never going to show it to Trump.
Right, that's the problem.
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck's the point in being president if you can't find out
I
about
thought
UFOs?
Yeah.
If I knew that to become president meant you get all the access to UFOs, I might go,
Yeah.
okay.
But so far,
I'll make a try for that.
The presidents who have tried haven't gotten there.
No one gets it.
Like
I mean,
Jimmy
Clinton-
Carter. Jimmy Carter, you know, said he had a UFO experience.
Yeah, he saw something,
Did?
right?
Yeah.
He said he saw something. But see, that was back in the 70s where everybody was seeing shit. They were all talking about things. It was part of the zeitgeist.
It was.
People were legit, like after Close Encounters of the Third Kind, especially, people were legitimately thinking that aliens were going to come.
Yeah, he proposed such a possible scenario in that movie.
was so good.
It wasn't anything you expected it was going to be.
But like here, I was going to say here, like another example is like the Rendlesham, like that explanation of the F-16's locked, you know, footage, like Rendlesham Forest, where they claimed that these American soldiers in the woods out in England mistook a lighthouse light for a spacecraft. That they were within 20 feet of a craft that they saw and took notes on, did
20
drawings
feet?
of. Yeah, they were not even like right up against it. And they, you know, wrote down notes, saw like different sort of hieroglyphs on the ship itself, described the feel of it, this electrostatic feel of being around it. And the official explanation was they mistook a lighthouse several miles away for this spacecraft. So Occam's razor again says that's hard to believe that these trained observers, and that's the other thing, they always try to dismiss the idea that trained observers are better observers. But they are better observers.
Sure.
In the age of today, where everyone has a high definition camera in their pocket.
But have you taken a photograph of the moon on
It's
your
hard. Yeah, it's
on
true.
your
It
phone?
comes out super
doesn't look
crappy.
like the moon.
That's true.
Yeah,
Right.
There's no
That's true.
details.
Comes out as a
'Cause
blur.
The lenses are too wide. But Occam's razor says, all right, they saw something, but they, you know, because what is the likelihood that trained observers who have been on this base for years on this night would mistake a lighthouse that they've seen every night for the entire time they've been on this base for a UFO? I mean, what is the likelihood that explanation is correct?
I'm not aware of that story.
Oh, Rendlesham Forest? Yeah.
How do you say it?
Bentwoods.
How do you spell
Rendlesham.
it?
Rendlesham. Rendlesham.
Rendlesham Forest.
Yeah, it was Bentwoods. It was 2 nights.
Sounds like a character actor on Columbo.
where there was and it's a nuclear installation.
And Rendlesham Forest.
The nuclear installations are always ripe with UFO stories.
Yeah.
What year was this?
This was in the 80s.
1980.
Yeah.
Interesting.
And it's, you know, and it said, obviously the obvious explanation is, well, not the explanation, but the only thing you can accept is that these observers saw something
Right.
and described it accurately.
Is it something that had crashed?
If you want to say that, no, it came down, was landed in the forest, and
They looked at it?
took off.
What do you think of the Roswell case?
The night before that, Roswell, I think it's probably true.
Real? You're all in.
Yeah.
Wow, Dave, I never knew that about you.
But I mean, because
it's interesting.
Again, because the cover stories for it are so much less believable than an alien.
Yeah, I used to have a joke about it.
Yeah.
That they put on the paper that they have recovered a crashed UFO and alien bodies. And the next day they said, we made a mistake. It was just a balloon. Well, what about the bodies?
Yeah.
What about the aliens?
It's a balloon.
Yeah.
Those are Mexicans.
Yeah.
They were Mexicans. They were drinking. Apparently they thought the balloon was a piñata.
Yeah.
They got a little crazy.
So I'm believing you right now.
But we just invented some new stuff out of nowhere.
And then 30 years later, they go, they were high altitude dummies that we were dropping.
That's right.
To test how they would fall.
And now we have lasers and invisibility cloaks.
Well, they showed up again the next day with a bunch of weather balloon scraps. And they're like, look, this is it.
Oh, the guy holding it up like a
But
little...
what they don't tell you is that they flew the wreckage out to Wright-Patterson Air Force in 2 separate planes and that Truman met them there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, again, the more rational...
2 separate planes.
Because they were worried that one would crash.
The weather balloon thing is not as rational as something weird happened.
Listen, I want it to be an alien so bad that
me
I
too.
question myself. So that's my problem.
I want
with
it to
all
be
that stuff.
But I won't I'll be skeptical about stuff that just seems crazy, or people that believe sort of ascribe some sort of metaphysical explanation for all this. My thing is just, if the preponderance of the evidence says something happened,
right,
but doesn't tell you what happened,
right,
then you still have to believe something happened. Not knowing what happened isn't evidence that it didn't happen.
And yet you're still a flat earther.
Yeah. Well, have you looked outside?
It seems flat.
Yeah.
The 2017 New York Times article, in my mind, made that was a big shift, because when the New York Times is reporting about it and saying that this is major news and this is real and there's video evidence that they can't ignore, when you talk to high-level people at the government and people like Commander David Fravor, who had that infamous spotting off of the coast of San Diego, when you hear about people like that are very reputable, it starts to change the conversation in a lot of people's eyes.
Right. See, it used to be that one person would see something in the sky and say, look, Martha, look, there's something up there. Now things have changed. Now we have multiple sightings by multiple modes. That is the gold standard for looking for these objects. Not just one person, but several people that are reputable. Not just radar, but visual sighting, infrared sensors, telescopic evidence. Now we have multiple sightings by multiple modes. And so the burden of proof has shifted. It used to be the burden of proof was on the people who believed in UFOs. They saw something, prove it. Now the burden of proof has shifted to the Pentagon, to the military. Now they have to prove that these aren't extraterrestrial. And so I think there's been a sea change in the last just several years. 50 years ago, there was a congressional hearing, and it was coming out of Project Blue Book. And there was a lot of laughter and a lot of jokes about little green men in outer space. 50 years ago, that's the way it was. Now, things have changed. Now people are looking at are they a threat militarily? What kinds of sensors do we have? What kind of metrics do we have? We now have, frame by frame, an analysis of these objects. These objects travel between Mach 5 and Mach 20. That's 20 times the speed of sound. These objects can zigzag, and we can measure the G-force inside this object. The G-forces are several hundred times the force of gravity. In other words, any living person's bones would be crushed by these objects, so they're probably drones of some sort. These objects can drop 70,000 feet in a few seconds. Think about that. It can drop a tremendous distance in just a few seconds, and they can go underwater. This is something that we didn't realize before, but yes, they can actually go underwater. And they also move without creating an exhaust or breaking the sound barrier. So these are things that we can now document frame by frame looking at these videotapes.
So for yourself, what was the shift? And how did you feel about UFOs, say like 10, 15 years ago?
Well, there is this giggle factor, and it's the third rail, of course, of your scientific reputation, if you believe in these things. But the evidence is accumulating over the last several years. Now, when I was first approached by Carolyn Corey, the producer of this film, A Tear in the Sky, I was skeptical. I said to myself, come on. I mean, 5 days? 5 days you're going to look for flying saucers in the sky? What happens if the aliens are camera shy and they don't show up in 5 days? So I was pleasantly surprised when they actually found something. They actually have photographic evidence of objects that can gyrate just the way the Pentagon has said. And so we now have a sea change. A center of gravity has changed with regards to looking at these objects. We no longer simply look at one individual seeing something in the sky. No, we demand hours of videotape, multiple sightings by multiple modes. That's the gold standard now.
So what do you think is happening? Do you think that this is something that maybe another government from another country has created that far surpasses our abilities, or do you think that this is coming from somewhere else?
Well, the Pentagon has listed, I think, 5 different options. One option, of course, is that they're weather balloons or something that's an artifact of our space program. Maybe a piece of rocket that is plunging back into the Earth's atmosphere. That's one category. Another category is anomalous weather events. They happen, and they have to be looked at very carefully. But the last option is other. That is not just the Russians or the Chinese, because these objects apparently can gyrate faster than what the Chinese and the Russians can muster, but it opened the door to the possibility of other. They didn't specify what other was, but you can fill in the dots yourself. Now, one possibility for other is hypersonic drones. We see that in warfare now. The Russians, in the Battle of Ukraine, is actually using hypersonic drones to hit targets inside Ukraine. To be hypersonic, you have to go faster than Mach 5. Anything faster than 5 times the speed of sound is called hypersonic. And so the Russians are now fielding hypersonic drones in warfare. But you see, this is something just in the last few months. These sightings, they go back decades into the past, with objects executing these gyrations decades ago. And that's why you have to take them seriously.
So the Commander David Fravor event that we talked about off the Nimitz, that was 2004. Do we have an accurate understanding about military capability in terms of like drones and propulsion systems from 2004? Or are there things that are classified that we are not going to have access to? Like, is it possible that, 18 years ago, they had the capability to have a vehicle or a drone move this way, that information has just not been released?
Well, 2 years ago, the United States military admitted that it stopped working on these hypersonic drones. Why? They're unstable. They zigzag. And that's why the Russians have put a premium on this technology to evade our Star Wars program. The Russians wanted a rocket that can maneuver and therefore outwit a stationary Star Wars system designed to shoot down these drones.
Right.
So that's why the Russians have put a priority on this, and they've now fielding in warfare. We actually see them as a military weapon. 2 years ago, the United States military stopped its program. They're too unstable. They were not reliable, and it was not worth the amount of money to put into it because the military was invested in the Star Wars program, not the anti-Star Wars program. But because Vladimir Putin announced the hypersonic drones, then the United States military said, oops, nope, we have to get into the game too. So now the United States is also working on hypersonic drones as well as the Chinese. So the Chinese, the Russians, and the Americans are all working on these things. But you can see how primitive they are. We're talking about objects that defy the known laws of aerodynamics with a technology beyond what we have today. And so that's why people are scratching their heads. Whose are these things if they're not the Chinese, the Russians, or the United States?
So one of the main points of contention is the lack of visible propulsion method, right? There's no, essentially, there's no heat signature. There's nothing that we understand to be present that normally exists when something is going at a tremendous rate of speed.
That's right. Not only that, these objects create no sonic booms. When you exceed the sound barrier, you create a gigantic boom that is then shatters windows and can be heard miles around. These objects can effortlessly break the sound barrier and not create a sonic boom. And they don't create any exhaust. We don't see any exhaust trail from these objects. So either they're an optical illusion of some sort, or they have a set of laws of physics beyond what we can muster. Now, if they are an optical illusion, if an object were to move in front of your eyes, traveling at a very slow velocity, but you don't know how far they are away, you may think that object is very far away from you, traveling at enormous velocities. So a weather balloon drifting in front of your eyes can simulate an object traveling at hypersonic velocities if you think that weather balloon is far away from you. So how do you tell the difference? Well, you look at wind patterns. It turns out that many of these sightings, these objects defy the direction of the wind. If they are weather balloons that you confuse with a flying saucer, then they would be moving with the direction of the wind. But these objects do not do that. These objects can go against the direction of the wind. Not only that, but we have multiple sightings. If an object is very, very far away, if an object is close to you, but you think it's far away, then it's traveling at an enormous velocity while it's actually just drifting in front of your eyes. How do you tell the difference? By having multiple sensors, radar, infrared sensors, visual sighting. Then you can tell how far this object is away from you, and then you can say that, no, it's an optical illusion. Well, we do that now. We have multiple sightings of these objects. By radar, we know how the velocity, the distance. Each time it comes out to be real. And so that's why we're scratching our heads. Who has this capability? And the answer is, we don't know.
Is there anything that's theoretical that you're aware of that could be applied, like from some other planet or some other galaxy or whatever, that something that maybe we have theorized that could be responsible for the way these things are able to move?
Well, when I talk to my friends who are physicists like myself about these things, they sort of laugh, giggle, their eyes roll up to the heavens, and they say something very simple, that a rocket using conventional means would take 70,000 years to reach us from the nearest star. Therefore, these objects cannot exist. 70,000 years for a Saturn rocket traveling at 25,000 miles per hour to go from a nearest star to the planet Earth. That's why most scientists disregard these sightings, because they defy the laws of Einstein.
But isn't that kind of silly? Isn't that kind of like saying, you can't, you know how long it would take you to get a horse from Los Angeles to Sydney, Australia? Isn't that kind of like saying that?
Exactly. And that's why I say that assumes that these aliens or whatever are maybe 100 years more advanced than us. But open your mind to the possibility that they are 1,000 years more advanced than us. 1,000 years is nothing compared to the age of the universe.
Right.
The universe is about 13 billion plus years old. That's how the age of the universe. And so the age of a civilization, just a few thousand years ahead of us, that is just a blink of an eye to the universe itself. And once you go to higher energies, the laws of physics begin to break down. The laws of Einstein and the laws of the quantum theory break down at something called the Planck energy. Why is that important? That's what I do for a living. I work on something called string theory, which lives at the Planck energy. The Planck energy is 10 to the 19 billion electron volts. That is a quadrillion times more powerful than our most powerful atom smasher outside Geneva, Switzerland. Any civilization that could harness the Planck energy would be able to become masters of space and time. Space and time, as we know it, become unstable at the Planck energy, which is far beyond anything that we can muster here on the planet Earth. So we physicists theorize, how advanced do you have to be to access the Planck energy? Well, we rank them. the Kardashev scale says that there could be type 1, type 2, or type 3 civilizations. A type 1 civilization is maybe 100 years more advanced than us, to maybe 1,000 years, sort of like Buck Rogers or Flash Gordon. They control the weather. Volcanoes, earthquakes, anything planetary, they control. That's type 1. Then there's type 2. Type 2 is stellar. They harness the power of an entire star, like Star Trek. Star Trek would be a typical type 2 civilization where they manipulate entire stars. Then there's type 3. Type 3 is galactic. They roam the galactic space lanes. They play with black holes, like the Empire of the Star Wars series would be a typical type 3 civilization. Then the next question is, what type do you have to be to harness the Planck energy? The energy at which space and time become unstable, where wormholes may develop, gateways through space and time, portals through empty space. You have to be type 2 or most likely type 3. Then the next question is, how long will it take before you become type 3? Well, we are maybe 100 years away from being type 1. We're maybe a few thousand years from being type 2, and we're maybe 100,000 years from being type 3. And 100,000 years is nothing on a galactic scale. The age of the universe is, as I said, over 13 billion years old. And so once a civilization reaches the Planck energy, that is a type 3 civilization, space and time become your playground.